Ling Chen had been waiting for this moment for a long time. He didn't check what the flaming Komodo dragon had dropped. Unable to hold himself back, he opened his backpack and pulled out his level 15 gold boots, Wind Rider shoes, and also his celestial sword, Zephyr Blade. He took off his silver boots, changing it to the Wind Rider shoes. Suddenly, a mysterious glow appeared at his feet. He felt like his whole person was standing on the wind. He also changed his sand blade that has helped significantly, and successfully equipped the Zephyr Blade to this hand. The Zephyr Blade had a variable length. Its width was greater than the sand blade. Holding it in his hand, the weight was significantly lighter than the sand blade. He could barely feel the weight, moreover the green crystal body of it was gorgeous. Ling Chen raised the Zephyr Blade, and quickly swung it downwards. It released a sound of the wind. The worthy celestial items, regardless of shape, attributes, special effect, was always the best. After equipping the Zephyr Blade, Ling Chen's attack strength directly increased. His base attack was now 631. At the same time, the Zephyr Blade had an additional 20 attack speed, reaching 120 attack speed. At this point, if he uses this extreme attack, and it crits, he can deal over 40k damage. An ordinary player would not even dare imagine this number. This kind of extreme damage is at first thanks to soul sacrifice, at the same time, also fully demonstrating his Ling Qian battle soul profession. After completing this job, he'll be able to deal 3 times the damage of the extreme attack. That would still be on the lower end of skills. If he was fully leveled, who knows what level of strength could be reached. The Temple Guardian fighting spirit is said to be the strongest job. With Ling Chen's current abilities, he has completely destroyed the balance of this virtual reality game. Ling Chen beamed with pride when playing with the Zephyr Blade. Xiao Hui also happily rushed towards the bodies of the lizards, swallowing them 5 at a time, and in no time, the dozens of red-eye lizards have all been cleared out, and on the ground was 11 elementary strength crystals in its place. Finally, it stood in front of the flaming Komodo dragon's body. After a small pause, opened it mouth wide, and in just a few seconds, it swallowed the large body of the flaming Komodo dragon into its own small body. Soon after, a red crystal larger than the elementary strength crystal was spat out by Xiao Hui. Ling Chen quickly stepped forward and picked it up. Intermediate strength crystal, category, strength crystal, level, intermediate, attribute, fire, effect, increase physical attack by 9%. Swallowing the flaming Komodo dragon created an intermediate strength crystal that couldn't be bought anywhere at this point. Ling Chen equipped it onto the lunar scourge without hesitation, replacing the elementary strength crystal. Suddenly, his base attack raised again by a small amount, reaching 649. Xiao Hui also took a little longer to transform the spirit of the flaming Komodo dragon. After completing the absorption, a white halo appeared above it. Ding! Your pet spirit beast, Xiao Hui successfully leveled up, now level 10, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, defense plus 20. Ding! Your pet spirit beast, Xiao Hui learnt a new skill, innate learnt Holy Spirit's Eye, innate learnt skill Holy Spirit's Aura, increased to level 3. Spirit beast, Xiao Hui, category, pet, level, 10, grade, celestial, master, Ling Qian. Has initiative, dependent, will never betray attributes, HP, 4000, MP, 100, physical attack, 1, magic attack, 1, physical defense, 400, hit rate, 1, evasion, 1, crit rate, 50%, pierce rate, 50%, move speed, 300. Innate gifts, can freely move about on land and water. Is especially sensitive towards dangerous aura, can sense the approaching of danger beforehand. Is very sensitive towards the smell of high-grade ores, energy crystals, energy orbs and all kinds of treasures. Can discover and accurately locate their locations from a long distance. Unless it attacks or taunts others on its own, it usually will not be attacked by any creature. Can help the master to quickly pick up items. After picking it up, it will appear directly in the master's backpack. Note, this is limited to owned goods, for example, monster loot. For goods that are not owned, they can only return from its mouth, and will not go directly to the master's backpack. Innate skills, Holy Spirit Shield, Level 1, Soul Devour, can't be leveled. Holy Spirit's Gift, Level 1. Holy Spirit's Aura, current level, LV3, highest level, LV20, level required to upgrade to LV4, LV15, using its Holy Spirit aura that is void of evil and impurity to seek the protection of Mother Nature, upgrades the innate gifts of itself and all companions. Effect, Luck +3 and Comprehension +3 of itself along with the Master and all pet companions. Effect exists even while not summoned. Holy Spirit's Eye, current level, LV1, highest level, LV5, upgrading to level 5 needs, 20 levels. Using the strength of the Holy Spirit's eyes, a glimpse will reveal the hidden secrets of beings. The higher the level, the stronger the capacity in range. Effect, can view any player, beast, witch, demon, god, ghost not higher than 10 levels from itself for details of the spirit, and share it directly with its master, can detect this from 50 meters around itself. The newly level 10 Xiao Hui's body has grown bigger. Looking at Xiao Hui now, Ling Chen was stunned. Level 10 gave Xiao Hui the ability to leap large distances. Its health and defense already made Ling Chen jealous, but now it also has a state of immunity and a debuff. These are the kind of skills only the highest levels boss have. In contrast, Ling Chen responded to the two new talents with wonder and surprised. It was a waste of time to pick up the loot after killing monsters. This was a well-known fact, especially in Ling Chen's case with his killing rate. Picking up items greatly reduced his efficiency. Now with the level 10 Xiao Hui, it was able to help him pick up items. He won't need to waste time picking items up, no doubt greatly improving farm efficiency, and allowing him to be safer. Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit's Eye is a transformation that, simply put, is an assistive technology that is difficult to describe. Looking at the monster's detailed information and effects compared to the collective Discovery Center in the player base is vastly different. The Discovery Center can only show basic information, and it's only for monsters, but Xiao Hui's skill can be used on all living things, giving all the detailed information. The basic information and detailed information are completely different. Previously, when Ling Chen wanted to know some information, he would have to read a Discovery Scroll. These scrolls were only obtainable through a small number of jobs, and were not sold anywhere. The usefulness of these scrolls were crystal clear to Ling Chen. When fighting his two hardest battles on the Mystic Moon world, the greedy giant toad and the Zephyr bird, he was able to win, but the Discovery Scroll played a significant role. If he didn't know their details in advance, he would have died to the two celestial beasts. Master yourself, master the enemy, then you would not need to fear a 100 battles. These are not empty words. But now, Xiao Hui can freely use an unlimited number of Discovery Scrolls. Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit's Eye will be of incalculable use to the enemies that Ling Chen will face in the future. At the same time, Holy Spirit's Eye will not only be able to access detailed information, but it can also find the hidden scenarios. TLN, not sure about this. Maybe it refers to quests. Holy Spirit's Eye highest level is level 5, but level 1 is already so strong. With a fully leveled Holy Spirit's Eye, the strength of the effect will be simply unimaginable. Even though Xiao Hui has no attacking ability, Ling Chen has begun to feel its celestial grade on Xiao Hui. He had misunderstood it. If there was ever a time or chance where a heavenly end class attacking type pet could be chosen, he believed that he would still choose Xiao Hui. The newly leveled Xiao Hui happily jumped around several times, making whooping sounds, quickly running towards the spoils. Suddenly, Ling Chen saw a scene where Xiao Hui was simply running, with its 300 move speed, running like the wind and lightning, and the places where he has been, the ground had all kinds of items, coins, potions, crystals, and even pieces of equips. Everything was being attracted to Xiao Hui's body. When the items touch its body, they strangely disappear, then they directly appear in the Ling Chen's backpack. TLN, Auto Loot Op, running a circle in an area that was filled with corpses. In a few seconds, the 50-plus lizards on the ground drops were all cleared out. In this time, all Xiao Hui did was run, not doing anything else. Everything appeared in his backpack. Ling Chen finally experienced the speed of the natural ability of auto-looting, TLN, direct translation is rapid seizure. This speed was really something that couldn't be described. Ling Chen shortened his body, and patted Xiao Hui's head, feeling emotional. Xiao Hui, you have shown such great ability, your history, what exactly is it? Xiao Hui could hear him, it tilted its head, but it couldn't understand what the words meant. It also immediately saw Ling Chen after birth, so there was no way it would know its own true origins. It also didn't have any interest in its own origins. After Ling Chen became its master, its sole purpose became to live with him. Just a reminder to please like our Facebook page at https://www.facebook.com/halcyontranslations. Every 200 likes is a bonus chapter. Even with a Lord-type boss, it was not easy to get gold equips. If golden equips dropped so easily, even if it was not a bad avenue, TLN, that's what Ra says, maybe it's referring to the place where the lizards spawn. It wouldn't be rare to the point of the early stage, maybe low-quality, artifacts. Even though the tenacious leggings were available for all occupations, its attributes were particularly useful for Ling Chen, so he equipped it without hesitation. He then continued to go through his backpack, then he realized, he had over 1,000 elementary strength crystals. Even if he just sold it to the store, he could make over 80,000 gold coins. This number of gold coins at this stage was an astronomical figure. There was nothing he couldn't buy, at least in Azure Dragon City, with the income that was brought in by Xiao Hui. Looking at these elementary strength crystals, Ling Chen was filled with energy, and rushed towards the nearby newly spawned red-eye lizards. Dedicating the vast map to leveling, with the denseness of the respawned groups of monsters, coupled with Ling Chen's high level, no one could take his kills. Here he could achieve a leveling speed that would leave other players breathless, whilst also making a large profit. Red-eye lizard, category, beast, level, 15, HP, 650, strangely shaped lizard that possesses red pupils. Its body will occasionally shoot out sparks, due to this it commonly creates small-scale fire disasters on the plains. Talent, fire resistance 30%, immune to common poison attacks, higher defense, fast move speed. Methods of attack, tail whip, suddenly whipping their tail to hit a single enemy, after hitting it will move back 2 body lengths, attack speed is fast, hard to prevent. That day, Ling Chen killed a day's worth of red-eye lizards, and even with Heaven's jealousy on his body, his experience still steadily rose. Ling Shui Ruo was online for 8 hours before being called by Ling Chen to go offline. When she went offline, her level was almost level 3. This was obviously to the credit of the 2 sisters she brought, otherwise she would lack attack damage as a trainee priest, and with one person it would be very hard to level up. Letting Shui Ruo play for 8 hours a day was already Ling Chen's limit. He could see that Shui Ruo really liked Mystic Moon. When leaving the game she made a sound of dismay. In the past, her world was just spent dully sleeping, but now, her life finally had some excitement. She finally found a way to enjoy something that normal people enjoy. After Shui Ruo went to bed, Ling Chen returned to the Mystic Moon world, continuing to eradicate the red-eye lizards. Altogether, his time spent in a day online was around 10 hours. He needed to spend a large amount of time taking care of Shui Ruo, so his time spent online could not be compared to those leveling like madmen. Moreover, there was the Heaven's jealousy which covered his head. Nevertheless, because of the speed in which he killed the red-eye lizard, he was second to no one in terms of leveling speed. He spent the whole evening killing red-eye lizards. The second day, again, he killed a day's worth of red-eye lizards. Looking at these giant lizards crawling all over the ground, his eyes were getting numb. Dead or alive, there was no difference in his eyes. The next afternoon, Ling Chen's level 12 EXP bar finally filled, leveling to level 13. Ling Chen let out a sigh of relief. Leveling is a very boring affair. These past 2 days were boring to an extreme level. It was just him in this place, there wasn't even a shadow of the other players. No one talked to him, not even a snatching monster, passerby, or even a robber. The only one by his side was Xiao Hui following him around. Then it was all just red-eye lizards and occasionally 1-star, 2-star or 3-star elites. After leveling up, Ling Chen paused for a bit. Nearby, more red-eye lizards were spawning. Seeing these giant lizards crawling around made Ling Chen felt like throwing up. Ding! Congratulations, your pet spirit beast, Xiao Hui leveled up, now level 12, HP plus 200, MP plus 5, Defense plus 20. Xiao Hui's leveling speed was faster than his own. He only just reached level 13 and Xiao Hui reached level 12 at the same time. The difference between their levels was only 1 now. Ling Chen couldn't help but feel a little jealousy. It was already 4 p.m. so Ling Chen no longer stayed in the red-eye lizard territory, but instead he took out his return scroll and went back to Azure Dragon City. Ling Chen first went to the pawn shop, getting rid of all the white equips and items that he doesn't use, getting over 50 gold coins. After thinking about it, he took out 30 elementary strength crystal and sold them for 240 gold coins. Then, taking roughly 300 gold coins straight to the equip store, he bought 600 bottles of instant 800 HP restore green potions and 1200 bottles of instant 200 MP restore dark green potions. Even though there were a lot, it only used up 9 storage spaces. A reserve like this would be enough to last for a long time. He then counted up the rest of the elementary strength crystals, and headed straight for the Azure Dragon City delivery store. Azure Dragon City's largest delivery shop was empty, because this store, regardless of whether you are selling or sending, it was only for the players. Seeing Ling Chen come over, a middle-aged female boss came over and welcomed him with a smile. "How are you, young brother? You must be from a different world. Is there anything you need delivered? The shop is newly opened, so there are great discounts. One small item per day only costs 5 gold, a bigger item would cost 10 to 100 a day, and after the sale we only take a commission of 5%. The consignment shops set up by the NPCs in this virtual game are very shady." This was generally accepted. Not only did it take a fee for storing the items by day, it also took a large commission when goods were sold. So, generally players bought consignment goods from other players, particularly those who were powerful. There were consignment shops by prestigious guilds, with low fees and also low sales commissions. Some don't even need a commission. But at present, there was no way there was a consignment shop opened by players, so this was his only option. A consignment of 3,000 elementary strength crystals. Ling Chen showed his 3,000 elementary strength crystals, then he took out 15 gold coins. The consignment was not calculated by piece, but by class. Regardless of the number consigned, it was counted as one. Items as small as potions, scrolls, and as big as weapons with identical attributes. Even if you come up with 80,000 pieces of the same object, it will all be automatically placed into the same spot by the consignment shop. Elementary strength crystals were considered a small object, so all 3,000 of them only needed 5 gold coins a day, so 15 gold coins were enough for the consignment of 3 days. All 3,000 elementary strength crystals almost blinded the consignment shop female boss eyes. Her mouth was wide open, it was wide enough to put a rubber ball in. Only after a while did she stammer, "Young brother, where did you get all these elementary strength crystals? It's simply amazing. Do I need to report the source of the items I'm trying to consign?" Ling Chen asked with a wry smile. No need, the female boss shook her head, quickly taking all the elementary strength crystals and the 15 gold coins. 15 gold coins, consignment for 3 days and a total of 3,000 items. How much did you want to sell the items for? 150 gold coins. Okay. If there is a sale, after the commission of 5% is deducted, it will be transferred to your bag automatically. If 3 days had passed and not all the goods have been sold, and you don't return to renew it, all the goods that are not sold will be returned directly to your backpack. When there is a sale to a player, the gold coins will be automatically given wherever you are. This is the biggest advantage of consignment at an NPC shop. Consigning with a player store means you'll have to collect the gold yourself. So, even though consigning with NPC store is shady, many players will still choose to do so. If 3,000 elementary strength crystal were sold to the pawn shop, one could make 24,000 gold coins. Ling Chen obtained these, in a span of 2 days and 1 night. At the moment he has consigned them at the Azure Dragon City store, selling at 150 gold each, cheaper by 50 gold coins than the equipment shop. 50 gold is by no means a small amount, and from the tonight, there will be a lot of players going into Azure Dragon City. At that time, there should be a lot of players going to buy it. After dealing with everything, Ling Chen called his cloud-stepping mare, and headed east. After leveling to level 13, he had already decided not to stay, but instead headed directly for the Silent Soul Ridge. Although he had a month for the task, it's always better to be early than late. It was over 200 kilometers away, with his current speed, and if the mare doesn't stop, he should be there in roughly 10 hours. Of course, this was an impossible ideal. Traveling along the unpredictable terrain and potentially facing monsters, it is likely that it will take several times longer. Ling Chen didn't expect it to be too bad. When night began to fall in the real world, Azure Dragon Square started bustling with player silhouettes, but it was still only a small amount. These players are all the top Chinese players, and when it was midnight, Azure Dragon Plaza started to have groups of players appear. The center transfer hall was packed with players. Upon reaching the next day, the scary gangs frightened the 7 job instructors who couldn't wait to dig a hole and escape. TLN, Heaven's jealousy makes him require 2x more EXP to level up, I believe. Teaser, I think, after several boring chapters, it's time to finally get down to business. There will be a mysterious businessman, Lolus, attack pets. Xiao Hui is a pure support pet, but it is completely different to the evil pure support in the Evil Dragon. The next kind of pet that will appear is a pure attack pet, but it will also be completely different from the evil pure attack pet in the Evil Dragon. Do you think a god horse monster will appear? TLN, not sure what Evil Dragon is. Ling Chen's horse galloped non-stop, running from the evening to the early hours of the morning. He was aware that the more east he went, the lower number of towns and the number of people also became more sparse. He was now in a desolate place. The big and small mountains were chaotically arranged. Running up the mountains is significantly harder than leaving Azure Dragon City. In addition, it was obvious that this place was a good place to find all sorts of beasts. So on this road, Ling Chen never let his guard down and always paid attention to his surroundings. At level 13, this was a top level among the player base. Even if he didn't level for 3 days, no one would be able to catch up, but in this whole forgotten continent, his strength was the absolute lowest. And in this dangerous place, any monster that jumped out was able to kill him. Stepping out of the level 45 Sawtooth Blood Panther territory, Ling Chen reached a safe zone before finally stopping. When he was going to go offline, his intercom rang, broadcasting Yunfeng's voice. Ling Chen. Did you hear? I spent a whole night desperately trying to level and now I've finally reached Azure Dragon City. I'm now by the square. Fuck, the number of players here is intimidating, the transfer hall is completely crowded. Oh yeah, where are you? My sister hoped that I'd be here by last night, and already transferred. How about I take you to see her? If she finds out that the helper I found for her was you, she'll be pleasantly surprised. Your sister wants to create a guild called Dream, right? Ling Chen responded. Yes. How many people are there? Cough cough, honestly, Dream, till now still hasn't been successfully created. It didn't occur in the previous world either, so there are no core members, so, only after reaching Azure Dragon City can the development begin. And also, at first, it can only be the smallest type of guilds, in the form of a studio, then only can it slowly grow bigger. Right now, including you, there are 5 people. Ling Chen, Aish, know that this number is appalling as well, but, Aish, no matter what, I couldn't just sit by idly. This is her last fight, and I know how she is, even if it appears impossible, she still wants to try. She says, even if it's a small, almost invisible ray of hope, it is still hope. This means that there is a faint possibility, so if you dare not even try and just give up, that would be a real tragedy. Yun Feng sighed a few more times. All along, from what he said to what he did, Ling Chen could feel his love towards his sister, the same way he loved Shui Ruo. Ling Chen was silent for a moment, then he said, "This was the reason she gave?" "Yep." In that moment, he gained the desires of a certain person named Yun Meng Xian. At least in terms of their persistent attitude, they were similar. "I only just reached Azure Dragon City, there are a lot of errands to deal with, I'll take 1 or 2 days to settle in. I also have a task to complete. With regards to meeting her, I'll talk to you about it in 1 to 2 days." Ling Chen said. Because of Shui Ruo, he will definitely help Yun Meng Xian to fulfill Yun Feng's expectations. But helping a girl who effectively has nothing in 2 days, this was going to be really difficult. "No problem. When you're free just contract me." "Oh yeah, that soaring cloud, pa." Ling Chen hung up and went offline to make Shui Ruo some breakfast. Afternoon, Peace Town. In accordance with what the Azure Dragon City mayor said, Peace Town was the closest town to Silent Soul Ridge. If you continued east, you wouldn't find anyone anymore, because in less than 15 kilometers, is the feared Ghastly Grounds. After the Ghastly Grounds lies Silent Soul Ridge, the place where no one has entered and lived to tell the tale. Peace Town's name also comes from the fact that the villages use the place to pray for peace. After all, it is so close to such dangerous places, so they can't help but worry that a catastrophe could happen at any moment. Reaching Peace Town meant that he was really close to Silent Soul Ridge. Frankly speaking, Ling Chen didn't spend any more time leveling and was really eager to come here. The main reason was to gather information as soon as possible, then he can spend a sufficient amount of time to prepare. His strength compared to all of the Forgotten Continent was at the lowest of the low. Many high-level players from the Forgotten Continent didn't come back alive after entering the Silent Soul Ridge. He couldn't find a reason as to why he would be any better than them. Peace Town was small, the whole town only had a few hundred people, but the shops had everything. But, aside from the main city, all other cities equipped stores don't sell strength crystals. Obviously, selling crystals was the privilege of the main city. "Uncle, how are you? How do I get to Silent Soul Ridge?" Peace Town's residents were all fairly closed families, barely any pedestrians could be seen. Ling Chen did not easily find anyone, so he quickly stepped forward to ask his question. "Oh, it's about 15 kilometers northeast from here, what? You want to go the Silent Soul Ridge?" the middle-aged man responded with a startled look. He then quickly blocked the way. "Young man, you must an adventurer? Don't ever go to the Silent Soul Ridge, that is a place of death, no man that has been there has ever come back alive. I've lived here for many years, even thinking of Silent Soul Ridge's name makes me feel a chill, never ever go there." The middle-aged man's fear on his face was not false in the slightest, as the town closest to the Silent Soul Ridge, even the name would incite fear. One can only imagine how horrible the place is. Ling Chen asked, "Why is that place so scary? Are there really strong monsters inside?" "Aish, no one really knows." The middle-aged man shook his head. "In front of the Silent Soul Ridge are the Ghastly Grounds. Within Ghastly Grounds, it is surrounded by an undead gas. Within the gas, there are also herds of terrible spirits and zombies. Whoever goes near would start to get dizzy and their body would feel weak. Our ancestors said that the place was filled with a vast amount of undead gas released by the undead, which can devour human life. The undead gas in the ghastly grounds, although it is scary, it can be prepared for. It is not hopeless. Our town is only a few kms away from the ghastly grounds, and sometimes the undead gas still reaches here. So, the village has long since developed methods of resisting the undead gas. But even then, once you pass through the ghastly grounds, into the Silent Soul Ridge, you will disappear off the face of the earth and never return. Young man, you must be an adventurer from another world, right? Otherwise, you would definitely know about the fear of the Silent Soul Ridge. It is known throughout the Forgotten Continent as the top feared and restricted area. Never ever go there. Undead gas? Ling Chen nodded. I now know, thanks for telling me. Oh yeah, you were talking about a method that could resist the undead gas. What is it? Oh, that is our town's special food. After eating it, you can mitigate the impacts of the undead gas, and it's also really yummy. I've been having it for many years and I still haven't had enough. This food is sold everywhere. I believe that after you've tried it, you'll understand that this taste can only be acquired in heaven. The middle-aged man pointed at a closed door and said, with a look of satisfaction on his face, he seemed to be able to taste the taste that can only be acquired in heaven. Ling Chen remembered the location of the house and continued to ask, at the Silent Soul Ridge, is there a plant named black inflamed grass? The middle-aged man nodded. On the ancient records of the Silent Soul Ridge, there is a message about the black inflamed grass. But since the Silent Soul Ridge had become off-limits, whether the black inflamed grass is still there no one knows. Speaking of which, some time ago a few parties were looking for the black inflamed grass. They didn't listen to our warnings and went to the Silent Soul Ridge. Even until now they haven't returned. They must have also been turned into the undead. Young man, remember my words, never ever go there. That place is scarier than what you can imagine. After talking to the middle-aged man, Ling Chen stayed in Peace Town for a long time. Every time he saw a resident he would go and ask them questions, but he didn't obtain any more useful information. Hearing the words, Silent Soul Ridge, causes a look of fear, then they would just try to stop him from going there. He stopped trying to ask. Ling Chen went to the middle-aged man's house and opened the door and some white-hot air burst out. How are you, adventurer of a faraway land? Come drink our special delicacy and enjoy the coolness that will flood your body. I believe that after you try it, you would definitely understand the taste that can only be acquired in heaven. And even desire to stay here forever, living with this amazing taste. A skinny old man carrying a steamy big bowl, with a grin said, What is this food? Is it really that good? Ling Chen looked at the big bowl. Rice porridge, boiled rice porridge. After eating it user will gain 10 HP recovery. Within 10 minutes it will mitigate the effects of undead gas. Price, 3 silver coins. Ling Chen. At #UN%, bring 20 bowls. Ling Chen quickly said, skipping the small talk and taking out 6 gold coins, giving it to the old man. 20 bowls of hot porridge will last 200 minutes. He came here to explore. He didn't think he would complete the task, so 20 bowls should be enough. More importantly, he remembered that when leaving Azure Dragon City he only had a few gold coins left. He can't buy too many even if he wanted to. Thus, after preparing 20 bowls of steaming hot porridge he went to his cloud-stepping mare and headed northeast straight for the Silent Soul Ridge. Did you know? If all of our readers clicked just one adf.ly button every day, there would be at least one bonus chapter every week. After traveling for half an hour, it was the last stretch of the ghastly grounds. Ling Chen slowed down a little just so he can focus on dealing with any sudden situations that might happen in front of him. At this time, a light flashed brightly into his eyes. The source of the light was from the sharp point on Xiao Hui's head. Xiao Hui had been sleeping on the cloud-stepping mare's head, and when its forehead point shined, its eyes opened in an instant. Its 2 ears stood up with a whoosh, then it quickly stood up, sniffing the air. It suddenly jumped from the cloud-stepping mare and rushed towards Ling Chen, making woo-woo sounds, then quickly ran off to the left. "Xiao Hui, where are you going?" Ling Chen just called out, but his already knew what it was. Before, on the war god training grounds, when Xiao Hui suddenly sprang out, its forehead point also shined. Then, it brought back striker beads. What did it realize? Ling Chen followed Xiao Hui without hesitation. Xiao Hui intentionally slowed down so that the cloud-stepping mare could keep up. After running for not more than 100 kilometers, Xiao Hui stopped and stood by a 200 m tall rock wall, exposing half its head from the rock, staring motionlessly forwards. Ling Chen stopped as well. He climbed down from the cloud-stepping mare, and was about to speak when a voice that made his entire body go numb flooded his mind. "Shu, young master, do not make a sound. If you scared away that fat cat, it would be a pity." "Fat cat? What does that mean?" Ling Chen asked with his mind. "Young master should go see, then he will understand, but, take light steps as that fat cat is very alert." Ling Chen didn't make a sound and returned the cloud-stepping mare. He took light steps and walked to Xiao Hui's side. Pressing his body up against the rock, he slowly moved and poked his head out from the side of the rock. Looking in front, his eyelids fluttered. This is a rugged rock area, almost to the point where no vegetation exists. All there is are big and small rocks of different shapes. 50 m in front of him there were 24 meter high rocks, and where these 2 rocks meet, a gold obese body with its back turned to him was twisting around with its butt. Looking at this shape, it seemed to be hugging something. This was close to the ghastly ground, so it had at least a little undead gas, but it still had an animal, and that animal was golden. But since its back was facing Ling Chen, he couldn't tell what animal it was. "What is that?" Ling Chen asked in his mind. Based on what Qiyu said before, she seemed to know what this was. That is to say, this animal has existed for 10,000 years, and it seemed like some kind of great thing. Ling Chen had just finished what he was saying when the shining golden animal suddenly stopped doing the twisting action. Swoosh, it turned its body, and in the moment it turned around, Ling Chen got to see its whole body. Its cat face was as big as a wash basin, its body was round like a ball, its limbs were short and thick, its 4 paws were exceptionally large, its yellow tail dragged on the ground, and the source of its golden light was not from its body, but from the golden bell hanging around its neck. The standing posture of the golden fat cat was really funny. Ling Chen used his concealing breathing ability. If Ling Chen dared say second, then no one would dare say first. TLN, not sure what this means, the fat cat alertly looked around for a while, but did not detect the presence of Ling Chen, so it turned back around and started using its claws to play with something. At this time, Ling Chen's mind received information from the Holy Spirit's Eye from Xiao Hui. Lucky cat, category, spirit, level, 0, grade, none, HP, 8941544198. The cat was actually called Lucky Cat. Okay, what it's called is unimportant, but when Ling Chen saw its HP, he felt weak and was about to fall. 1, 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, it was as if his eyes were deceiving him. Its health, it's close to 900 million. Level 0 and without a class, the fat cat had almost 900 million HP. This number would cause normal players to gasp in shock. Ling Chen shook his head quickly and continued to look at the information on the fortune cat. What exactly is this super monster? Lucky cat, numerous treasures from the ancient times released an aura and nature's breath of life combined together. After countless years of evolution into treasure creatures, they were extremely sensitive to all kinds of treasures and have a sensitive perception. It lives to collect all kinds of world treasures and travels for it. Its body contains lots of money and countless treasures. Rumor has it that whoever can catch it, can use its large amount of money and treasure to exchange for its freedom. But to date, it is unheard of anyone catching it. Talents, high speed, extreme alertness, can see through any kind of stealthing. Natural skills, money shield, any damage taken will cause money to drop instead. However much money it has is how much HP it has. The dropped money can be picked up right away by it, but when its money reaches 0, it will immediately die. Money attack, throws money out at a single target within 10 m. It will deal however much damage as money is thrown. An unlimited amount of money can be thrown at once. Money thrown can be picked up. Money escape, while it's free, it can rapidly throw down 100 gold coins. Then the forces of nature will teleport it to a random place on the Forgotten Continent. Treasure strange call, calls for a random piece of treasure to appear. The treasure has no attack power but can keep the target occupied while it escapes. Lucky hand, when close to the target it stretches its paw, stealing all the gold of the target in a moment and the target will not be aware of it. True lucky hand, when close to the target it stretches its paw, stealing all the gold and items of the target in a moment and the target will not be aware of it. Ling Chen, after reading the cat's abilities, Ling Chen's forehead had a fine layer of sweat. This is such a strange monster, was what he was internally screaming. Using gold as HP, it has close to 900 million HP, which means it holds nearly 900 million gold coins. 900 million. Even if the cat sat there without moving, he didn't know how long it would take away all the money. What's even more insane is that the money that it knocks out can be picked back up. The scariest thing is the money attack. The money thrown has no limit, so if it decides to use all of its money in the attack, it could deal up to 900 million damage in one attack. It could even one-shot mythical beasts. As for its lucky hand, Ling Chen's body shrunk as he subconsciously looked at his own backpack. What kind of monster is this? Ling Chen groaned internally. As if it heard Ling Chen's internal voice, Qian said with a smile, "Young master, that is not a monster. Its name is called Lucky Cat, it is a spirit. The spirit of heaven and earth, which was conceived through the breath of countless treasures and nature's breath of life. It has two strong abilities, one of which is to collect all kinds of treasures, and it must be the most precious of treasures. Most treasures it doesn't bother touching. The other ability is to steal things? Nope, to run away. Lucky Cat's ability to escape a battle is unique. Even if it's the Moon God clan's top 3 goddesses, they can't guarantee to can catch it. Ever since it appeared, countless number of people on Forgotten Continent want to catch it. This is because catching it would make it possible to get the treasures on its body, but it seems like so far no one has ever succeeded. But, it still has a weakness. What is its weakness? It's timid. Even if the most common rabbits appear next to it, it will run away immediately. Hee, young mater, do you want to try and catch it? If you can catch it, the loot would be ludicrous. EK softly said. Do you think I can catch it? Ling Chen grinned. The information on this fat cat clearly says that it's very fast, has high perception, and can detect all kinds of stealth, but it doesn't know what the system deems as very fast. However, it's probably significantly faster than his own max speed. Moreover, the fat cat has the money escape ability. Randomly throwing down 100 gold coins, and it can be sent to any part of the Forgotten Continent. With this ability, who could possibly catch it? Nope. EK laughed softly, and answered simply. But, young master could give it a try. The cat usually doesn't appear in places where there are many people. Just being able to encounter it is a type of privilege that is hard to come by, so no matter what you need to give it a try. Even if you fail you won't lose anything. Don't be afraid of its money attack, as the fat cat regards money more important than life. Unless it absolutely needs to, it won't throw its money. Ling Chen didn't say any more. Holding his breath, he looked at the lucky cat again, and just at this time, the cat stopped moving to look at its surroundings. Its alertness is not that high. Even in a place where there are no humans, he still frequently looks around. Unfortunately, just as Ling Chen moved out of sight, the lucky cat happened to see him. Meow. While Ling Chen was surprised, the dark object that the lucky cat threw was already right in front of him. Ling Chen focused his vision by widening his eyes. A round shape that seemed to be made out of some kind of black metal. It was made of one material with a bit that could be held like a handle. It looked a lot like a pan. It's a strange treasure. Young master, quickly beat this strange treasure. If you can beat it before the cat can take it back, this treasure is yours. Quickly. EK said with excitement. In most situations, the lucky cat would choose to run. It wouldn't summon a treasure to engage in battle, because if the strange treasure was defeated by an opponent in a short time, then it would be obtained by the opponent, causing it to lose a treasure. All the treasures on the lucky cat's body are very rare and are worth at least 10,000 gold coins. Normal treasures don't attract it. It won't even touch those, let alone keep them on its body. It was facing this situation and not running away, but instead calling a strange treasure can only mean one thing. There is something that is greatly attracting it, making it not want to leave. Chi Yu's voice sounded as the dark object that the fat cat threw was over Ling Chen's head, then it flew downwards aggressively. Ling Chen's eyebrows pricked. He quickly jumped away, then his brain received the information from Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit's eye. Handsome pan, category, spirit, level, 0, grade, none. HP, 5,000, a self-appointed handsome frying pan. Legend says if it is used to cook, it will produce the most delicious food in the world. Talents, none. Attacking techniques, eat my pot, using the body of the pan to swing at the target's head. It does not deal any damage, but if it hits, there is a 100% chance that the target will be dizzy for at least 5 seconds. If you are locked down and continually hit, then you will continue to be dizzy. Hiding ability, morph, effect unknown. Ling Chen, B. Young master, you need to hurry up and defeat it. Lucky cat summon duration of the strange treasure is a short. The cat will also call it back if it thinks that it will be stolen away. The best thing you can do is to kill it in one hit. EK cautioned. It deals no damage and only adds dizziness, but once hit it has 100% chance. Moreover, you only need to be hit once, then once dizzy you will just be continually hit, continuously being dizzy until it stops hitting. Soul sacrifice. This pan has no damage, so it cannot harm him, therefore there would be no pressure in him using soul sacrifice. The speed of the frying pan is quite fast. Ling Chen just finished casting and it was already flying towards him, aiming at his head and swinging down. Pa! With Ling Chen's swift retreat, the handsome pan smacked the rocks. Ling Chen's eye narrowed. Poising with his hands together, he used 2 Ling Tian slash to hit the pan. Pa! Pa! -66176610 Ling Chen in the soul sacrifice state had an extremely high attack power. With one hit and shot, the handsome pan lost all its HP in an instant. The pan that was about to fly to him suddenly fell to the ground. Its whole body shook twice, then it suddenly flew up. Ling Chen retreated quickly. What? Didn't it have 5,000 HP? Could it be? The pan not only flew again, but while flying its size increased, bigger and bigger. 2 times, 3 times. 5 times. 10 times. Finally appearing before Ling Chen's eyes, it was now an extra-large pan with a diameter of 3 meters. Super Big Handsome Pan, category, spirit, level, 0, grade, none. HP, 50,000, a self-appointed handsome frying pan. Legend says if it is used to cook, it will produce the most delicious food in the world. Talents, none. Attacking techniques, eat my pot again, using the body of the pan to envelop the target's head. It does not deal any damage, but if it hits, there is a 100% chance that the target will be dizzy for at least 10 seconds. If you are locked down and continually hit, then you will continue to be dizzy. Ling Chen rubbed his eyes. Previously, the little pan was fun to play with, but now when a 3-meter-sized handsome pan came down it, it wasn't fun anymore. Its HP also increased by 10 times. Looking at the dark-colored pan ahead, Ling Chen's heart began to sink. At this time, the lucky cat that was hugging something suddenly turned around. Seeing that the pan had already morphed, its big face looked a little confused. Its front 2 paws suddenly start vibrating. Suddenly, the super big handsome pan that was flying towards Ling Chen, ready to swing down, suddenly stopped. Oops, the lucky cat wants to return the treasure. Quickly kill it, you only have one chance. EK quickly cried. Seeing the lucky cat's actions, Ling Chen also knew its intentions, but with the super big handsome pan's 50,000 HP, it wasn't easy to just one-shot it. Got it. Battle Soul Possession. A colorless and shapeless light energy shrouded the light of soul sacrifice. With soul sacrifice and battle soul possession, the next attack will be the highest attack that Ling Chen can achieve. In that moment, the super big handsome pan began to return to the cat. With its previously demonstrated flying speed, if it wanted to fly away, Ling Chen would never be able to catch it. He did not dare to delay any longer. Ling Chen fiercely jumped forwards, right hand using the soaring cloud Ling Qian slash, left hand with the zephyr blade using 4 corners star formation, instantly casting them. Unrivaled power was released. The surging destructive power formed the shape of 4 corners of an array. Battle Soul Sacrifice and Soul Possession buffs resulted in tremendous power that was all placed onto the body of the super big pan. Bang! Bang! -2520813234. Battle Soul Possession's effect only works for the next attack, and since both attacks from Ling Chen's hands were simultaneous, it was considered as Ling Chen's self-created next attack. So, the 4 corners star formation and Ling Qian slash all triggered the effect of the Battle Soul Possession, stacking together, dealing over 38,000 damage. But these 2 attacks unfortunately didn't even crit once. The super big handsome pot with still over 10k HP, without saying anything, like it was being swept in the wind, flew back to the lucky cat with a whoosh. The speed was almost comparable to the running speed of Xiao Hui. The effect of the soul sacrifice still remained even after the 2 heavy attacks. Ling Chen couldn't stop halfway. His right hand was raised, his body has turned, and the soaring cloud in his hand turned into a silver meteor and flew off. Bang! The super big handsome pan flew even faster, but it wasn't as fast as the soaring cloud flying. It could only fly 20 m before being heavily hit by soaring cloud. -18,906. A beautiful digital crit number appeared in the air, and the large frying pan, under the impact of the soaring cloud, started to spin like a large windmill and then fell to the ground. It started to roll in Ling Chen's direction. The rolling then started to slow, but it kept rolling until it was at Ling Chen's feet before stopping. At the same time it transformed back to the original size. Ling Chen quickly moved towards it. As it no longer had any HP, it was no longer a monster pan, so he picked it up. EK said that the lucky cat's body's items were all world treasures, so being able to get even one item from its body was what people dreamed of. Ling Chen naturally picked it up as quickly as he could. But, this pan doesn't even look like a treasure. Handsome pan, special cooking item, grade unknown. A self-appointed handsome frying pan. Legend says if it is used to cook, it will produce the most delicious food in the world. However, it seems that nobody knows how to use the pan. Right, this is indeed a pan, a frying pan. Ling Chen held the handle in front of him. It was quite funny. Mio 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 mio. With the frying pan in Ling Chen's hands, the lucky cat at the side was anxiously calling. Ling Chen grinned and put the pan away, then took a step forward. And in that step, he saw the cat's body start to shrink. The yellow fur pricked up and then, whoosh. A yellow light flashed before Ling Chen's eyes and it suddenly disappeared without a trace. Ling Chen's feet were dead in their tracks, everything just happened past him. Right, the lucky cat had run away. Its running away speed let Ling Chen see its amazing escaping ability. It was just one moment, but Ling Chen heard the gust of a wind and the cat had completely disappeared, not even leaving a blur. Ling Chen stood there with his mouth open and didn't regain his senses for half a day. He was admiring the speed. What different was it from teleporting? No wonder EK said that its escaping ability was unrivaled. This kind of running speed, even gods can't do anything about it. It ran away. His mind was filled with EK's laughter. Obviously, she didn't doubt the lucky cat's running ability. Ling Chen's ability was nowhere near to being able to catch it. But, young master's luck was pretty good. Actually defeating a summoned strange treasure, and got a treasure from the lucky cat. The lucky cat's body only carries items that are world treasures. Young master can earn a lot from this. Ling Chen took out the handsome pan. Looking at the shining black bottom of the pan, he was confused. He asked, "This pan, what does it do?" "I don't know. But, since it came from the body of the lucky cat, it definitely wouldn't be something simple. Looking at its description, it has something to do with cooking. Young master can take it to the cooking shops of Azure Dragon City to ask around. There might be a big return," DK softly replied. After a pause, she continued, "Generally, lucky cat upon seeing other animals will immediately run away. It won't stay or summon strange treasures." Just then it didn't immediately run away and also summoned a strange treasure, so there must only be one reason. It's that there must be a piece of treasure here and so it was unwilling to leave. "Quick, go ahead and look for it, there must some incredible thing." While EK said that, Xiao Hui's forehead point continuously flashed. Its paws touched Ling Chen's trousers, then it ran ahead. It ran to the place where the cat had dug a hole. The light on the point had reached its brightest. Ling Chen crouched down and used his hand to brush away the layer of soft soil. After gently pushing it away, it was translucent. He revealed it from the earth and picked up the red and yellow shining treasure in his hands. Just then, the lucky cat only needed to dig a little bit more, then it could have been able to reach this precious rock. Mysterious red sun gold. EK's shout of surprise echoed in Ling Chen's mind. The sound was filled with awe and incredulity. Mysterious red sun gold, a special metal that contains a very high density of power. Legends say that it was a stone given by God. Even with a very small piece, if all the power is drawn out of it, it will cause catastrophic destruction. There are only a few mysterious red sun golds in existence. They can be used as the main core of a pure offensive weapon or auxiliary core. What is the mysterious red sun gold? Ling Chen asked. No wonder the fat cat was unwilling to leave. It's because there was a mysterious red sun gold hidden here. And here I was, thinking that 10,000 years ago, the mysterious red sun gold had completely been depleted on the Forgotten Continent. EK didn't answer Ling Chen's question directly. She slowly described with detail, mysterious red sun gold is a type of metal that contains extreme power. Legends say, it was formed by the golden sun burning the body of God. It's an item coveted by gods and demons alike. On the Forgotten Continent, there was a race born to forge and create. They were the dwarfs. The dwarfs hated crime and war. Forging was their life and soul. They have the world's strongest forge, so as a result, high-level forging materials is what they desire the most. To get these high-level forging materials, the dwarfs were willing to exchange anything. And mysterious red sun gold was sacred to the eyes of these dwarfs because with mysterious red sun gold, they were able to create a heaven's end, no, even mysterious god-level weapons. Ling Chen. Heaven's End. Mysterious God. This rock can really make heaven-grade or mysterious god weapons? Ling Chen asked in disbelief. Heaven End, they are players' ultimate dream weapons. If you obtained even just one Heaven End equip, even if your other equips are standard, you'll be able to horizontally walk through the player base. TLN, I think this just means that you can easily beat anyone in the player base / walk right through them. Heaven End equips breaks balancing with its existence. They are only available in the later stages of the game, so only the top players have the potential to be eligible for one. While Mysterious God equips, these are for players to be hopeful but never to obtain. Mysterious God equips are a rarity in all of the Forgotten Continent. They are considered mere legends to the players, so nobody expects to come into contact with one. As for the Saint Destroyer's equips, those are just legends within legends. If all the players were told right now that here was a metal that could make Heaven End and even Mysterious God weapons, the world's players might go crazy. Heaven End and Mysterious God equips forging is not that easy. Heaven End equips and Mysterious God equips have very demanding material requirements. The strain on the power core is extreme. To be qualified for Heaven End or Mysterious God's power core or auxiliary core, you can't find many of them on the entire Forgotten Continent. Mysterious Red Sun Gold is something even gods want. With the size of this Mysterious Red Sun Gold and its dense power, it is fully qualified to be a Heaven End or lower artifacts power core. If you find the sufficient construction materials and can control their advanced blacksmithing, there's a real possibility of producing a Heaven End equip, or a lower grade Mysterious God equip. I'm not lying. For normal things, the lucky cat wouldn't waste its time on it. Young master, this time you got a really great deal. Ling Chen's heart was racing. Heaven End equip. It exceeds even the celestial equip's existence. The two in his hands were celestial equips. They had strong attributes, but in the presence of a real Heaven End equip, their properties are dull in comparison. And with Mysterious God equip, they are of the same class of the Gemini Orb and the Sagittarius Orb combined. The Gemini Orb and the Sagittarius Orb has great strength, then one can only imagine how powerful Mysterious God equips are. With this piece of Mysterious Red Sun Gold and after finding the other high-grade materials, can I give it to a foundry shop and let them create a Heaven End or Mysterious God equip? Ling Chen asked with a whisper. If the two celestial equips in his hands were changed with Heaven End equips, he didn't know the extent of increase in strength. EK laughed, her voice sounding slow and lazy. That is impossible. Because humans are incapable of producing mysterious god-level goods. With human ability and forging capabilities, forging a Heaven End equip is already the best they can do. While people who actually have the ability to forge Heaven End equips are rare, they may not necessarily exist on the Forgotten Continent yet, and even if they did, the success rate is very very low, and once the forging fails, all the materials will be consumed. Ling Chen, on the Forgotten Continent, most of the Mysterious God equips don't come by forging, but rather by gods, demons, or the strongest spirits beast using their own great strength. They can use various ways to make them, but the process is extremely long and difficult, and they are a very small part of the equips that naturally transforms over countless years. The rest are all from the hand of dwarfs. Dwarfs are the only race that can forge Mysterious God class equips. Dwarfs, but, because it's like this, at one time, almost everyone wanted to enslave the dwarfs to make them build the most advanced equipment for their race. In the fight for the dwarfs, they were brutally murdered, until they completely disappeared on the Forgotten Continent. It could be that the last of the dwarfs are completely hidden, never exposed to the sun or moon, but it's also possible that they were completely annihilated. Who knows? EK has existed for tens of thousands of years, thus she knows lots of things that are not known to the residents of Forgotten Continent. Ling Chen fully understood EK's sad words. Even if he has this piece of mysterious red sun gold, unless he could find an advanced blacksmith that could forge heaven-end equips on Forgotten Continent, it would just be for displaying. And even if he found one, he still had to deal with a high failure rate unless he can find a dwarf that may or may not exist from the legends. Now it seems too much to think about. Because touching the mysterious red sun gold, it felt like it was burning hot. Ling Chen touched it a few more times, but didn't pick it up, because he didn't learn the art of mining. The higher level the ore, the higher level mining is required to access it. Ling Chen is a professional fighting-focused player. He did not take a single moment to practicing mining. Not even talking about practice, he didn't even learn mining in school. Taking 100 steps back, even if he learnt it with the lowest mining level, it would be impossible to obtain the sacred ore that is the mysterious red sun gold of the dwarfs that EK talked about. Young Mater, can't you take it out? Although the surface of the mysterious red sun gold is hot, it won't really hurt you. Young Master doesn't need to worry, seeing how Ling Chen kept feeling around it and how he just couldn't get it out, EK said. I didn't study mining. Ling Chen sheepishly said. EK, Ling Chen hands were continuously digging, but the soft soil next to it returned onto it, covering the mysterious red sun gold's light. He then stood up and helplessly said, I can only ask for a high-level mining NPC to come get it. Say, if I just left it here, after we leave will the lucky cat come back here and take it away? EK voice rang out, the timidness is that fat cat's biggest weakness, so where it's found, even if there's a treasure, it won't go back there for a few years. That's good then. For now that's it then. This place is close to the Ghastly grounds. There are no animals and basically no one nearby. Even if someone came here, they won't just start searching in the rocks, and so, this piece of mysterious red sun gold will probably still be here for countless years, going unnoticed. Overall, as long as the lucky cat doesn't come back, the mysterious red sun gold should be safe. With the possibility to produce heaven-end and even mysterious god equips with this metal, no matter who sees it, it would be an irresistible temptation. Ling Chen was no exception. After finishing today's scouting, the first thing he would do is to find a way to get to this piece of mysterious red sun gold. Yawn, his brain filled with the sound of EK's breath. It seemed to be a yawn. Then, with her soft and lazy voice, I have been awake only for a little but now I'm sleepy again. Young Master, I need to go sleep now, otherwise even the spirit body will be damaged. The undead gas is thick here. The air is filled with the smell of death. Young Master needs to be careful. Oh yeah, I need to tell Young Master one last thing. If you want to catch the lucky cat, possess its body before it realizes, but, the lucky cat is a spirit of heaven and earth, so effects such as dizziness, freeze, petrify and sleep, TLN, basically CC statuses, that limit action will be completely ineffective. Even the extreme water dragon couldn't freeze it. As long as it finds out, TLN, meaning the cat senses the person nearby, nobody can stop its escape. So Young Master, you are the world's most likely person to catch the lucky cat. Huh? Ling Chen was startled, then suddenly understanding, you mean Lunar Scourge? Young Master is smart. Lunar Scourge's suppress ability is one that no creature under the heaven can resist. Even the lucky cat can't. But, Young Master right now even with the suppress ability still can't catch it, because the lucky cat will never allow anything within 50 meters of it. Young Master's largest suppress range is only 13 meters. The range of suppression will increase with the Young Master's level and will improve accordingly. When Young Master is level 50 and above and sees the lucky cat again, then it really will be possible to catch it. You can't find the lucky cat. If you want to bump into it, you'll just need to be lucky, which is to say, the luckier a person is, the more likely that person will see it. Young Master being able to see it today is testament to the fact that young Master's luck is quite good. Well, I can't take it anymore. I'll go sleep now. It's pretty scary out here, so be careful. Then, EK didn't make any more sounds. Her current state makes it so that she can only stay awake for a very short time per day and materialize for only 10 minutes at a time. The higher the luck, the higher chance encounter it. Ling Chen looked at his luck stat, 9 points. If Xiao Hui's level increased 3 more times, then his own luck stat will increase to 10 points, reaching the limit of an average player. If Xiao Hui reaches level 40, then his own luck stat will increase to 15. It's a pretty scary amount of luck. TLN, he means it in a good way, I believe. After covering where the mysterious red sun gold was hidden, Ling Chen summoned the cloud-stepping mare and went eastbound. After half an hour. Ding! You've entered the Ghastly grounds. It's clearly daytime, but here it seemed like it was early evening. The air was filled with thick gray gas which greatly reduced visibility. A wave of cold air blew by. The wind had a rancid taste. Sometimes there would be ghostly sounds that would cause a person's hair to stand up. This was indeed the Ghastly grounds. If someone whom had less courage stepped in here, they might not even have the guts to take a step forward, Ling Chen silently thought. Getting down from the cloud-stepping mare, he called it back, took out his 2 weapons and started walking towards the gloomy world shrouded in fog, keeping on high alert. Woo, yee, bad sounds, I think, he ha 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 ha. All types of sounds that could chill a person from outside in were coming from all sides. It could make even a man of courage's teeth chatter. The more forward he went, the more the rancid-tasting gray smoke thickened, affecting visibility more and more. Ling Chen's eyebrows had a bit of sweat. Even for him, being alone in this kind of environment would make him feel a little scared. -100100100. Above Ling Chen's head, one after another, bright red numbers were floating up. One appeared every second, making Ling Chen's HP decrease rapidly. After he noticed this, he quickly took out a bowl of rice porridge that he bought from Peace Town. He drank it all with a gulping sound. Suddenly, the coldness in his body and the light dizziness in his brain felt a lot better. Ding, you used rice porridge, HP regen plus 10. Influence of Death's Breath will be weakened for 10 minutes. -101010. It turns out that even though the rice porridge's taste was alright, the effect is by no means weak. The impact of Death's Breath was suddenly reduced to 10%. The strength of the porridge surprised Ling Chen. He looked at Xiao Hui following behind him. Within the undead gas, it was walking with swagger. The spirit in that state was no different from normal. There weren't any numbers signifying loss of life above its head. It was completely unaffected. Xiao Hui, you freak. Ling Chen said softly. Continuing moving forwards, he stopped moving after a few meters. Among the darkness ahead, slow-moving shadows appeared one after another. Zombie, category, Undead, level, 15, HP, 638. The bodies of the dead which are under the influence of Death's Breath have turned into the undead. They now hate all things living. It will use its 2 hands to tear up any form of life. Talents, high attack and defense. Move speed extremely low. 70% dark attack resistance. Attacking techniques, rigidly swinging its arm to hit the target. Once hit, it will deal a lot of damage. Amidst the black fog, a slow-moving shadow followed the smell of life, heading towards Ling Chen's direction. Their bodies were dark green and black. They wore tattered clothes and most of the body had already decayed. Some even had eyes that were hanging out. Their movements were extremely slow, only taking a step every 2 seconds. In this eerie environment, along with the scary shapes of the zombies, if players found this place, he didn't know how many would have the guts to come in. Ling Chen's eyebrows twitched. He then rushed up. While he was almost there, he used Ling Qian slash in both hands, one from the left side and one from the right side. Pang 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 pang, -642647778419292. The blast released from Soaring Cloud and the Zephyr Blade hit the zombie's body. The sound it made was a dull sound, like hitting a rock. These zombies' bodies were very hard, and although Ling Chen's Ling Qian slash didn't crit, it can still nicely kill them. A scream that sounded like it came from hell rang out repeatedly. Then all zombies within 5 meters of him collapsed. From each fallen zombie, a copper coin was dropped. Xiao Hui immediately start moving in. The 5 copper coins that were picked up all directly appeared in Ling Chen's backpack. Then, it stood next to the corpses. After standing still for 2 seconds and taking 2 steps back, it walked sadly back to Ling Chen's side. The condition of these zombies left Xiao Hui with no desire to eat them. 151515. Ling Chen's HP loss rate increased by a little as he traveled deeper. Ling Chen looked above his head and started to run fast. After moving another few hundred meters, the gray fog caused the visibility to drop down to only a 10 meters radius. In addition, Ling Chen's HP loss increased to 30 per second. Every time he downed a big bowl of rice porridge, Ling Chen took a deep breath. In front of him appeared a smoky figure that was completely green. Poison zombie, category, Undead, level, 15, grade, 1-star elite, HP, 1500, because the body had become too rotten, the body mutated into a poisonous zombie. It is disgusted with life and will use its own hands to tear up any form of life. Talents, high attack and defense, very slow move speed. 70% resistance to dark attacks. Any attack has a 30% chance to apply 10 seconds of poison status. It deals 30 HP per second when poisoned, and upon touching the body of the poisoned zombie it has a 100% chance of being poisoned. Attack techniques, rigidly swinging its arm to hit the target, once hit it will deal a lot of damage. The looks of the poisoned zombie made Ling Chen feel uncomfortable. The only difference between them and the ordinary zombies is that their bodies were highly toxic, so their combat ability has greatly increased. But, what Ling Chen noticed was that 19 shadowy figures appeared before him, and they were all poison zombies, which is to say, they're all 1-star elites. A whole group of 1-star elites has appeared. Under this pressure he felt nauseous. Ling Chen took the initiative. Although the bodies of these zombies carry poison, their movement speed is exactly the same as the ordinary zombies. There is no danger being posed to Ling Chen. He rushed up, sweeping them with Ling Qian slash. Stacking 2 Ling Qian slashes will be able to hit the surrounding poison zombies, drawing blood. If they crit, then it will one-shot them. With the second round of Ling Qian slash, all the poison zombies within range will be defeated. Ding, you have successfully killed a 1-star elite poison zombie, prestige plus 15, skill points plus 15. Ding, you have successfully killed a 1-star elite poison zombie. Ding, you have successfully killed a 1-star elite poison zombie. Every killed poison zombie granted 15 prestige points and 15 skill points. Ling Chen's speed was unrivaled. If a group of 1-star elites appeared, it would be enough to make any player be surprised out of control. Seeing the poison zombies collapse, Ling Chen suddenly thought that if poison zombies appear here like normal monsters, after dying will they respawn like normal monsters? Wouldn't that mean there is unlimited prestige points and skill points? The idea was wonderful, but obviously, this kind of situation wouldn't happen. When the 30th poison zombie fell, other than the surrounding chilly winds, he couldn't find any of the poison zombie's shadowy figure. Ling Chen stood on the spot, waiting for 5 minutes, and no new poison zombies respawned. And on the ground, the fallen poison zombies still hadn't disappeared after 5 minutes. Ling Chen's guess was right. The creatures killed on the ghastly grounds won't disappear because they are already dead. In this deathly environment, after a set time, the fallen bodies will just get up again. Ling Chen didn't stick around and continued walking ahead. After killing 30 poison zombies, he gained 450 prestige points and 450 skill points. It was a pretty big yield, so he was completely satisfied. At this time, he had been traveling in the ghastly grounds for half an hour, already passing the middle point of the ghastly grounds. According to the people of Peace Town, all who entered the Silent Soul Ridge near the dark depths of the ghastly grounds have never returned. Right now, the place where everyone had been talking about drew increasingly close. 505050. Within death's breath, Ling Chen's HP loss became faster and faster. His steps were getting slower and slower, his attention was also tight with tension. Continuing to walk for 500 m, in the faraway distance in his line of sight is a black silhouetted figure on the mountain. Looking ahead, it looked like the devil's castle on the mountain top. The eeriness would cause people to not even dare to look at it more than once. Is that the Silent Soul Ridge? In the ghastly ground's low visibility, he could only make out a vague outline, which meant that the distance from here to the Silent Soul Ridge is now less than 100 m. The distance to which all who enter will die, is only a stone's throw away. Ling Chen's footsteps grew slower, almost checking his surroundings for each step that he took. Then, Xiao Hui that was behind him suddenly stopped moving. It made a warning sound. Ling Chen's eyebrows raised and he immediately stopped stepping forwards, his left and right hands were holding the soaring cloud and the zephyr blade respectively. Chirp chirp chirp. Hee hee hee, ha 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 ha, the echoing laughter came with the wind. From the black fog in front of him, a walking shadow slowly emerged. It was a black coat floating in the air. Under the cover of the cloak he could see the body below. Under the black hood, he could see a skull grinning. Undead Summoner, Category, Undead, Level, 15, Grade, Boss. HP, 7800. An undead summoner created by Death's Breath. It can manipulate the dead bodies for their use. When they die, unless their real body dies, they will continue to summon more undead, never dying. Talents, can float up to 5 m high while freely moving around. 70% resistance to dark attacks. Attacking techniques, summon undead warrior, manipulate corpses of dead warriors to attack the target. Summoned undead warriors are level 15 to 20. All summoned warriors have the same skills as normal warriors. It can summon up to 3 at a time. They can't be killed in deadly environments, TLN, I assume because of Death's Breath. Summon undead wolf, manipulate a demon wolf's body to attack the target. All wolves are level 15 and 2-star elites. It can summon up to 2 at once. They cannot be killed in deadly environments. Undead floating, able to short-distance teleport on ground and air, each time up to a 5-meter distance. The cooldown between uses is no less than 3 seconds. Ta. The undead summoner let out a creepy laugh. In the black fog in front of him, there was the sound of heavy footsteps, which will soon showed their bodies. Its whole body was green. It was a combination of human and animal. It was a giant troll and in its hands were 2 bloody machetes. Dual-wielding troll, Category, Undead, Level, 15, Class, Boss. HP, 16800, the Underworld's lowest level guard. It has a cruel temperament and is bloodthirsty. Chopping the bodies of the living gave it the greatest joy. Talents, very high attack, very high move speed. 50% resistance to dark attacks. Attacking technique, brutal blow, cutting in front of him with the blades in his hands. All targets within 4 m in front of it are damaged twice. Has 2% chance of triggering instant death. Monster blood, when down to 30% HP it will be filled with a burning anger. Its defense will become 0, and its attack will surge by 50%. Attack range increases 5 meters more. Hee 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 ha 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 ha, chirp chirp chirp. In the rear, another gloomy array of voices rang out. Ling Chen's head turned to the side. Another one of the same cloak figure was floating behind the undead summoner. Under the cloak was an equally scary ferocious skull. The only difference was that under the cloak had a stretched-out skeleton arm, holding a long jade staff. Undead Destroyer, Category, Undead, Level, 15, Class, Boss. HP, 8800, an undead summoner created by Death's Breath. It can control low-level undead. It steals creatures' lives. Talents, it can float up to 5 m high while freely moving around. 70% resistance to dark attacks. Attacking techniques, Sickle of Death, summon an evil sickle from purgatory to ruthlessly cut down all living creatures before it. It has a 10 m range of attack. The base damage is 350. Ineffective against the undead. Before it starts their 1.3 seconds of singing, with a very high frequency. Winds of Hell, undead wind blows from the underworld. 15 m around in an area of effect, TLN, AoE, dealing 300 dark damage. It has 25% chance of putting targets in 5 seconds of confusion state. Will active after it is lower than 50% HP whilst making a low-frequency noise. Undead Floating, it can short-distance teleport on ground and air, each time up to 5 meters distance. The cooldown between uses is no less than 3 seconds. In front was the Undead Summoner and the dual-wielding Troll. Behind them was the Undead Daterier. 3 level 15 Lord of Souls boss. Let's go. Ling Chen didn't run. His eyes narrowed. He slowly raised both hands. Then he suddenly turned his body, he rushed towards the rear. The boss that poses the biggest threat is the Undead Destroyer. Upon meeting it, Ling Chen suddenly attacked. The Undead Destroyer in a flash had teleported 5 meters away where Ling Chen couldn't reach it. Its whole body was dark. It laughed with a chatter, then sent its dark sickle, creating a thick atmosphere of death. Ling Chen rolled aside, calmly avoiding it. Behind him came the dual-wielding troll's footsteps. Ling Chen didn't look back. After avoiding another swing of the dark sickle, in that moment, his right hand pointed the soaring cloud at the Undead Destroyer, 2251. Soaring cloud hit the Undead Destroyer in midair. The magic-type boss gave it strong attacks and enlarged attack range, but it also had extremely low HP and defense. As they were similar level 15 Lord bosses, the Undead Destroyer and Undead Summoner's HP is only half of the dual-wielding troll. The soaring cloud directly hit the Undead Destroyer, taking a 1/4 of its HP whilst also mercilessly shooting it down from the sky. Ling Chen ignored the falling Undead Destroyer and the dual-wielding troll behind him. He rushed ahead with all his strength, quickly rushing toward Soaring Cloud, grabbing it and turned his body, facing the dual-wielding troll as it was swinging his machetes aggressively. Even though the dual-wielding troll's body was big, his movement was still pretty fast. Ling Chen calculated the time it was taking to get close. It must have between 140 to 150 move speed. It was better than his by a dozen points. Bang! The two machetes hits the ground, making a deafening sound. It kicked up dust within meters of the impact. The ground was left with two lines that were long and deep. If the two strikes hit, given Ling Chen's vitality it would not kill him, but it would at least draw blood. But, with strong attack power and good move speed, the troll's shortcomings are immediately apparent. Each time it attacked there was a long wait period. Ling Chen jumped away when he was attacked once again by the Undead Destroyer. It took about 2 seconds to raise the two blades before it started to chase him again. Ahu! In the darkness, there were 6 flashing red lights, rushing towards him. They were summoned by the Undead Summoner. They were 2-star elite undead demon wolves. Behind the undead wolves, were 3 hands holding a sword each. They were armor warriors. 2-star elite undead soldiers. Unless you could the undead summoner itself, these 6 summoned 2-star elites could not be killed. Humph! A sound of disdain escaped from Ling Chen's mouth. In the face of the 3 undead wolves and 3 undead warriors, he still rushed up all the same. When he neared them, 2 wolves suddenly pounced towards him trying to bite. Ling Chen's eyes flashed and instantly determined the trajectory of the wolves. Without reducing his speed, he moved his body slightly left, letting one of the wolves bite him. After pausing for a bit, he suddenly accelerated and within seconds he moved his body 3 times, leaving all the wolves behind. Looking ahead, he used both hands to cast the Ling Qian slash on the undead warriors ahead. Pa, pa. 2 loud noises were heard as 2 undead warriors were knocked back 3 body lengths. The 3rd undead warrior came to attack him. The recovery speed of Ling Chen was unthinkable for someone who just attacked. After the attack, his hands were quickly controlled to move the body. He escaped the attacker and rushed forwards, with the undead warriors following behind. He then looked over to the undead destroyer in the air. A dark round sickle flew towards him. He didn't think, he just jumped. In the air there was a sound of tearing. The dark sickle fell at his feet as he was jumping. Ling Chen, who was in the air, put his hands together, overlapping his hands to use a Ling Qian slash directed at the undead destroyer. -81216220. The undead destroyer can only be at a maximum of 5 m in the air. That was absolutely not a height that Ling Chen couldn't reach. Not just his soaring cloud, but also his Ling Qian slash, they could both reach a 5-meter distance. The undead destroyer in the air once attacked and immediately floated back down. When the undead destroyer was floating down behind Ling Chen, the 3 undead demon wolves nearby and the soldiers turned to face him. With the strong dual-wielding troll only a few meters away from him with such a strong attack, Ling Chen silently glanced before him and raised his right hand. Lunar Scourge. In Thess ghastly grounds, Lunar Scourge's light was extra bright. Lunar Scourge's light had a range of 13 m, which included all the summoned undead. The undead destroyer and the dual-wielding troll was frozen there. As for the undead summoner, all it could do was summon undeads. It itself didn't have any attacking capabilities, so Ling Chen ignored it. Moving his hands together, he performed round after round of Ling Qian slash towards the motionless body of the undead destroyer. -15461552. -15223046. It was only the second round, but the undead destroyer's HP was gone, but because it was completely frozen, its state cannot be changed, so its body was still floating in the air. Ling Chen quickly turned around, targeting the dual-wielding troll, saying aloud, "Next." If you enjoy reading Shura's Wrath, please consider whitelisting our site, ChinaNovel.net, on your ad block. The ad revenue really helps us out a lot, and the ads are not intrusive at all. 14831446. 2 rounds of attacks dealt a little more than a third of the dual-wielding troll's HP. At this time, Moon Shadow's effect ended and the dual-wielding troll and the 6 undead have all fully recovered, instantly starting to close in on Ling Chen. The dead body of the undead destroyer was finally falling out of the sky. Its body dropped something that glowed with a black light, falling before Ling Chen. The dual-wielding troll raised its machetes, and with a low growl swung aggressively at his head. The 6 undeads were blocking Ling Chen's back. If he took a step back, the undead warrior's attack would directly fall upon him. He glanced at the dual-wielding troll's HP. His expression clouded. He was just standing there unmoving, while the 2 machetes were quickly descending towards his head. Battle Soul Possession. Ling Qian slash, 4 corners star formation, bang, boom. In the soul-possessed state, facing the dual-wielding troll, Ling Chen used Ling Qian slash with his left hand and used four corners star formation with his right hand at the same time. When his two weapons came into contact with the dual-wielding troll, the dual-wielding troll's machetes had also deeply cut into Ling Chen. 320318 29441130. Ling Chen's HP almost dropped to 0. At the same time, the force of the impact also pushed him back a number of steps. He almost fell onto the ground. He wasn't quick enough to adjust his body. He spent the next few seconds drinking green potions before he died. With his HP restored, in front of him, above the troll's head rose two huge damage numbers. The four corners star formation had crit. The damage that came from the soul possession state was more than 10,000. The dual-wielding troll fell. The 6 undead that were originally close by were pushed away by the strength of four corners star formation. Ding, you have successfully killed a level 15 boss, Undead Destroyer, Prestige plus 150, Skill Points plus 150. Ding. You have successfully killed a level 15 boss, Dual-Wielding Troll, Prestige plus 150, Skill Points plus 150. The item that came out of the dual-wielding troll was immediately picked up by Xiao Hui. Ling Chen didn't have time to see what it was. Taking advantage of the 6 undead that were still on the ground, he quickly rushed to the final goal, the Undead Summoner. The Summoner class was no doubt powerful, even among players. A powerful summoner can summon beasts which can stop armies alone, but with the condition that he is able to protect himself. Because the life of the summoner is far more fragile than an elementalist, once enemies got close by and without any way to protect yourself, being able to summon more will do you no good. You could not do anything but wait for death. To the undead summoner, its self-preservation techniques are the low-altitude floating and the short-distance teleports, but Ling Chen's range on Ling Tian Burst is 5m, so he'll be able to reach it. Its ability of self-preservation had already been directly undermined by half. Ordinary groups of warriors are only able to attack on the horizontal axis. Being unable to attack vertically, they are unable to do anything in the face of an enemy in the air. But Ling Chen's Ling Tian Burst is capable of facing any direction. It is completely different. The 6 undead that were knocked onto the ground had got up. Ling Chen had already rushed to below the undead summoner. He then jumped and growled, "You get down here." Using the Ling Tian Burst, he aimed directly at the undead summoner. The undead summoner responded quickly, using its undead floating to move down 3m, making Ling Chen's attack fail, but the instant that it rematerialized, Ling Chen had poised his left hand to cast Ling Tian Burst, bang. 810. The fragile undead summoner was directly hit in the midair, falling onto the ground. Ling Chen rushed up in 2 steps, quickly using Ling Tian slash. 30501532. 15281519. Although the undead summoner was a level 15 boss, it only had 7800 HP, less than half of the dual-wielding troll's HP. Ling Chen's first round of Ling Tian slash had done significant damage, and then the second round had completely drained its HP. With the sound of its ghost-like cries, the undead summoner slowly fell to the ground. Behind Ling Chen, the 6 close-by undead bodies suddenly became wooden carvings, then they all collapsed. Ding! You have successfully killed a level 15 boss, Undead Summoner, Prestige plus 150, Skill Point plus 150. Ling Chen let out a sigh. Then, in the silence, the gloomy chilly winds no longer had any floating figures. They were only on the ground. There were bodies one after another. 3 level 15 bosses were all lying at Ling Chen's feet. It didn't even take too much effort, and in the whole process he was only hit once by the dual-wielding troll. When he killed these powerful undead, their loot was picked by Xiao Hui. Ling Chen opened his back, quickly going through his inventory. The 3 level 15 bosses dropped 3 pieces of equipment, one of which were gold earrings. Cursed earrings, category, earring, grade, gold, equipment requirements, level 15 or above magicians. Dark earrings that have been imbued with death's breath. It contains powerful magic, but will gradually consume the wearer's HP. Attributes: magic attack plus 25, spirit plus 10, HP regen per second minus 10. The cursed earrings attributes were no doubt strong. A strong magician could use it and greatly increase their attack power, but with a strong effect, it also carries a strong side effect: it devours HP per second. At the cost of 10 HP per second, an already fragile elementalist, priest or summoner would be even more prone to death. The other two pieces of equipment, one was painted black, a breastplate with a tattoo of a hideous skill, and the other were a pair of gloves printed with skeleton bones. Dark chest plate, category, upper garment, grade, gold, equipment requirement, level 15 and above warrior. A black breastplate surrounded by death's breath. It has a strong ability to resist dark attacks. Attributes: defense plus 45, strength plus 7, constitution plus 6, dark resistance plus 5%, immune to cursed state. Skeleton gloves, category, gauntlets, grade, gold, equipment requirements, level 15 and above any profession. Dark gloves that have an outline of a skeleton on it. It releases an aura of fear. Attributes: defense plus 17, attack plus 10, hit rate plus 5, crit rate plus 3%, dark resistance plus 3%. The 3 equips that the 3 bosses dropped were all gold. This was a surprisingly large return. Moreover, all but the earrings could be equipped by him. Immediately, he removed his golden stitched garments and his white silver bracers, putting on the dark chest plate and the skeleton gloves. The 3 bosses not only dropped 3 equips, but there was also a black crystalline item and a scroll that let out a pale white glow. Undead stone, category, energy crystal, grade, low. Attribute, dark. Effect: mounting it will provide 1 hour of immunity to death's breath effects. Immune to curse, immune dark, death state, will be lost immediately after the duration is over. Skill scroll, Trinity blood, usage requirements, level 10 or above any profession. After using it, one will acquire Trinity blood. It can be used when below 30% HP. When casted, the user will start burning with rage. User's own defense will be lowered to 0, attack will increase by 50%. Non-upgradable and cannot be used in conjunction with other attack power increases. That black crystal is a lower grade energy crystal, moreover it only lasts a short period, but in this environment, it can be used very effectively. Ling Chen immediately mounted it onto Lunar Scourge. Suddenly, a weak dark flash appeared and the choking feeling in his chest suddenly disappeared without a trace. The loss of life completely stopped and even his sight improved. But that scroll, it is difficult to find a gold skill scroll, moreover it was what allowed the dual-wielding troll to go ballistic. It's too bad that other skills that increase attack cannot be used in conjunction with it, rendering soul sacrifice useless if he used this ability. Before, Xiaohui didn't swallow a single zombie, but the 3 undead bosses made it excited. It stood by their bodies and opened its mouth widely, releasing a gray light over them, then swallowed the 3 bosses in one gulp. While eating the 3 level 15 bosses, Xiaohui level 12's EXP bar increased quite a bit. After a while, he spat out crystal, releasing a black light. This crystal was bigger than the undead stone. The dark light released was also more profound. Dark crystal, category, energy crystal, grade, high. Attribute, dark. Effect, immunity to curse, dark and death state. Compared to the undead stone, which is consumed after a short period, the dark crystal provides permanent immunity, which is significantly stronger, especially the immunity to death state. It meant that he would not need to fear this world's most feared status of death. The dark crystal was also mounted onto the Lunar Scourge, and as a result, 10 of the 12 free holes in the Lunar Scourge had been used. things have quietened down with only the occasional scary wind. The Silent Soul Ridge was nearby. It was just like the devil's mouth, waiting for him to step into it. Ling Chen completely filled his HP and MP, then he finally started heading forwards. With every step, he was closer to the place where everything would die. Tap, 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 tap. In the whole world, only the sound of Ling Chen's footsteps and his heartbeat could be heard. In his line of sight, the image of the Silent Soul Ridge became clearer little by little. Ling Chen looked ahead, and made discovery. From this position, looking at the image of the Silent Soul Ridge, it looked like a fierce skull. Upon moving closer, it really was a skull with a dark mouth for an entry. 10 steps, 20 steps, 50 steps. A whoa. Behind him, Xiao Hui let out a sound. It wasn't loud, but in this gloomy silence it made Ling Chen jump. He suddenly stopped moving and immediately tried respond, but that didn't seem like a warning sound from Xiao Hui. When it senses danger, the sound it makes is much sharper. A whoa. Xiao Hui rubbed its gray paw against Ling Chen's trousers, then started running left. Ling Chen was stunned for a moment then quickly ran after it. After a dozen steps, Xiao Hui stopped and faced the front, making another noise. Ling Chen looking at what Xiao Hui was facing. He could only see the gray air and the smooth dark ground, which was nothing strange. However, Ling Chen had seen Xiao Hui's strong abilities. If it stopped here, then there was definitely a reason. After pondering for a moment, he tried to step forward. Then he crouched down and tentatively reached out. He touched the ground that Xiao Hui was still facing. And in the moment that he touched it, a magical sight unfolded before his eyes. The smooth ground, with the touch of his hand, had started to melt away, leaving a dark hole clearly in the ground. The hole was 1 m long. At a glance, he could see that there was a ladder leading to the bottom. Ding! You found a hidden map, Dark Passages. Prestige plus 50. Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit. I could find hidden maps. He used this power/ability to discover his first hidden map, even though it appeared in these ghastly grounds. Hidden maps are extremely difficult to find in general, as they are usually hidden in places which people don't come across. This was an eerie place where no one dared to enter all year round. It was a place where the only things happening were the undead moving around. It's exactly this kind of place that would be a hidden map, especially because of how close it is to the Silent Soul Ridge. Dark Passage, passage. Is it a path to somewhere? While hidden maps are hard to find, they may also have great dangers hidden within them. It was just like when Ling Chen was in the novice village and he fell into the cave. That was also a hidden map, and the degree of risk was far greater than any general map in the novice towns. Ling Chen stared at the dark hole, not knowing where it led. Then he slowly walked over to it, then lifting his right foot and putting it on the first step leading down. He was getting ready to follow the steps going down to the hidden passage, not knowing where it would lead. At this time, Ling Chen suddenly heard the sound of a faint step within the cave. He stopped moving and stopped breathing. He was quietly staying still. The footsteps were growing increasingly clear. It seems to be from the inside coming out. Ling Chen quickly retreated. He stood 3 meters outside the cave. He furrowed his brow. His left hand was holding the soaring cloud and his right hand holding the zephyr blade, with his eyes firmly fixed on the hidden entrance. The footsteps got closer and closer and heavier and heavier. It gradually drew closer to his ears. Finally, a person's silhouette came out from the inside. When Ling Chen saw him and he saw Ling Chen, they were both stunned. This is a person and not an undead. Ling Chen knew from the first sight, because even though his complexion was dark and faint blue back, his eyes were bright. It seemed to have a normal temperament. It didn't have eyes that appeared to be undead. His body was lean and, it was actually as thin as a stick. He had a long monkey-like face that was mostly bald. There were only a few strands of hair on the crown of his head. He was wearing a ragged blue suit, with a short bamboo stick. If Ling Chen saw him on the streets, he would think that he was a beggar and not a very good one at that. After the stick man saw him for half a second, he suddenly began to shout, "Where did you come from, you ghost? Who asked you to come here? Are you a low-level undead who are the only ones eligible to enter into the gates of Hades? HRM? Wait, how do you have the living spirit?" The monkey man finally discovered what was wrong. He quickly looked up and down Ling Chen. Suddenly his eyes stared and he gave a dramatic cry, "Holy shit! You're a living person. Aren't you alive too?" Ling Chen expressionlessly asked. "Hey, you and I aren't the same. I'm a living person that can open the underworld. I can't be compared to normal people. Ha! How can I have a conversation with you? What kind of person like you is doing here? Don't you know that this is the entrance to the underworld?" "Wrong. With that scary bastard around, it's more like nothing living can even come here, so how did you get here?" The stickman immediately twisted his head to look in the direction of the silent Soul Ridge. Then after half a second, he said to himself, "This boy is not weak at all, but still, he can't oppose that bastard. Looks like that bastard wasn't home today. Entrance to the underworld?" Ling Chen glanced at the dark passage, and said in a low voice, "What kind of a place is the underworld?" The stickman that was holding onto the short bamboo stick, impatiently said, "Obviously it's the place where dead people go. Why do you ask so many questions? Ha, little one, you're lucky that that scary bastard wasn't home today, otherwise you would have never lived to make it to this place. All right, quickly go away, I've got business to attend to." After speaking, he didn't bother with Ling Chen. His body was swaying as he walked towards the west. "I said, what kind of place is the underworld, tell me. And the scary bastard you were talking about, who's that?" Ling Chen called out from behind him. He had no idea that he would find a person living here. At first he thought there was some kind of hidden boss, but turns out it was just a living person. A non-dangerous living person. Qian Gun. Xiao Hui's Holy Spirit's eye provided information that was being sent to Ling Chen that caused his lip to twitch. Holy Spirit's eye can only detect things that are lower than its own level plus 10. Being unable to identify the details of this stickman was not too surprising, but the key information was that name. Qian Gun kept walking, then he stood still for 3 seconds. He seemed to be considering something. Then only did he come back, saying something that puzzled Ling Chen, "Yo. Can't you see that you're so young but you're still a rich person?" Qian Gun almost missed it. "Hi, there's nothing that happens on this earth that Qian Gun don't know about. I would be the right person to ask these questions, but Qian Gun didn't make money by making a loss. If you want me to answer, you're going to have to come up with enough money. Want to know what kind of place the underworld is? I'll only charge you 10,000 gold coins for this. Qian Gun have always made deals fairly, so money first. One question costs 10,000 gold. That's a robbery. Young master, give him the money now. Give him as much as possible to stall him. If you can make him willing to trade with you, it would be a great thing." Ling Chen was about to swear at the stickman when the voice of Qiyu, who had to go bed, rang out in his mind. Ling Chen noted, and quickly responded, "Who is he?" Qiyu carefully explained, "Underworld businessman, Qian Gun. He is a human that can freely travel between the underworld and the real world. Don't think that his appearance is ugly, but he has existed for 10,000 years already. He is addicted to money and good at collecting all kinds of strange and eccentric things, then selling them to the rich. What he sells, even though they are expensive, they are mostly things that are hard to come by. At the same time, he's been around on the Forgotten Continent and the Underworld for countless years. He knows things that other people don't know, but if you want to know something from him, it would also be a substantial cost. His fame was known throughout 10,000 years ago. Countless people were eager to meet him and then heavily spend gold on buying what he has or finding out what information he knows. However, he and the lucky cat are equally as elusive. Most people won't meet him. For young master to be able to meet him, it is already extremely lucky. Underworld businessman. Qian Gun. Someone so important to Qian was looking at him. He just looks like an unremarkable beggar. His heart immediately had a measurement, but the question is. I don't have that much gold. Can it be cheaper? Ling Chen said helplessly. One question for 10,000 gold. This was daylight robbery, what player can afford this? Stickman jumped, holy shit. You can't fool me. You dare lie to I, Qian Gun old man. With a sniff, I can more or less know how much money you're carrying on you. If you aren't carrying 10,000, I'll walk backwards from now on. But I really don't have that much gold. Ling Chen curled his lip. Before leaving Azure Dragon City, he basically had to spend all his gold. After thinking of Qiyu's words, he felt as though he couldn't offend this incredible person. So he brought up his backpack, preparing to show how much gold he had to show that he wasn't lying. He casually glanced at the digital value of his own money. He was stunned. Gold, 427583 gold coins. Ling Chen was dumbfounded. On his body, he was carrying over 400,000 gold coins. An astronomical amount at this stage. What's this? Where did this gold come from? When did I get this much gold? Which is exactly how much appeared. Ling Chen finally understood where this huge source of gold came from. They were all from when he was at Azure Dragon City, consigning the elementary strength crystals to be sold. This means that the 3,000 elementary strength crystals, in one day, were all sold. Actually, after leaving Azure Dragon City yesterday, he had never checked how much money he actually had. This is because after leaving Azure Dragon City he had spent all his money, so there was no need to check it. In reality, he had no way to know if the 3,000 elementary strength crystals that he consigned were actually already sold in the early hours of today. After players entered Azure Dragon City, the first things they did were to transfer jobs and upgrade their equipment. Naturally, they would also try to find better energy crystals in Azure Dragon City. At this moment, the Luna chain that the players have are the lowest level, except for a few who have high-level Luna chains. Therefore, they can only mount 2 energy crystals, thus they will be very particular with what they mount, and of these 2 crystals, the one that they definitely will need is naturally a crystal that can increase attack. Increasing attack power is something that all professions will look out for. In addition, the elementary strength crystal will be of the highest demand with this physical combat system. Azure Dragon City stores sell elementary strength crystals for at least 200 gold. Because Ling Chen consigned it for 150 gold, in the time right now where currency exchange is unavailable, 50 gold is no small amount, so, the first player to see the consignment store selling elementary strength crystals for 150 would have been surprised and immediately buy it. After that, the news of elementary strength crystals being sold for 150 would have spread, then a large number of players would have flooded over, afraid that it would sell out. 3,000 did not seem much, but with the vast Chinese player base, 3,000 was an inadequate supply. While the consignment store was still crowded with players, all 3,000 would have already been sold. Then the resulting 437,500 gold was automatically deposited into Ling Chen's bag, making him unknowingly become a wealthy man carrying over 400,000 gold. The market for elementary strength crystals turned out to be so good as it only sold for 1 day before selling out. Ling Chen was ecstatic. He stopped with the nonsense and took out 10,000 gold, giving it to Qian Gun. Just then I forgot how much money I brought. I would never want to fool you. Now that I've made my payment, tell me what kind of place the Underworld is. With the 10,000 gold in his hands, Qian Gun immediately smiled, looking at Ling Chen like a father. If he was willing to spend money for something that wasn't even much of a secret, then this was definitely a super rich man that regarded money as nothing. He cleared his throat and solemnly said, "Relax, I Qian Gun am absolutely credible and completely fair. The Underworld, also known as the Ghost World, is simply the place where people go when they die. As per the legends of the West, there is the Underworld. Legends of that place where people go after they die are not very different from legends of the East." After hearing Qian Gun's words, Ling Chen lowered his brow and asked, "It is the place you go after death and the place where you are reincarnated?" Reincarnation? No, caught off guard, Qian Gun was now shaking his head. Of course not. Even though the Underworld is on the Forgotten Continent, yet it is a different world from the Forgotten Continent altogether. The Underworld was created by Hades, together with countless numbers of strong undead. Do you know what the undead are? Yes, the souls of the dead don't scatter, but the death's breath animate their dead bodies, terrifyingly making them capable of movement. While you were getting here, you definitely would have faced many zombies. They are the lowest of the undead. The higher level undead can possess terrifying shapes and power. At an even higher level, they can appear like humans, with knowledge and wisdom beyond humans. Countless years ago, because of all kinds of war, the Forgotten Continent produced all kinds of strong and weak undead. These undead brought great disaster on Forgotten Island. Then, Hades appeared. Hades himself was an undead, and he was the strongest undead of them all. He and all of Forgotten Continent's strongest undead creatures gathered together, creating a new world, and that place was known as the Underworld. The Underworld was the undead world. Under Hades' control, the undead weren't allowed to harass creatures in the outside world, but living creatures were also not allowed to enter. As the undead of the Underworld grew in number, the Underworld grew stronger, becoming a terrifying force. Even the lunar goddesses didn't dare offend them. With the great Hades, it is said that his strength was able to compete with the top 3 of the lunar goddesses. He is quite powerful. Qian Gun's Underworld and what Ling Chen had in mind were completely different. Simply put, it is a world where countless undead gathered. Ling Chen thought, what kind of role does the Underworld play in Mystic Moon? Could it be that players can only reach this world in the late game? That Hades has the same strength of the top 3 goddesses, that is also to say, Hades has Saint Destroyer level of terrifying strength. The Underworld is a world for dead people. The living are not allowed in there. You actually accidentally touched one of its entrances. But I warn you, the consequence of a living person going in there is becoming a dead person. Only high-level undead can enter the Underworld. They are all at least level 50. If you go like this, you're dead. Where you are right now is where the death's breath is released, creating this deadly environment. The low-level undead that are created in this environment aren't eligible to go into the Underworld. They can only wander about near the Underworld entrance. Qian Gun said with a smile. Then how can you enter? Don't tell me you're not a living person. Ling Chen said with a stern look. He was certain that this Qian Gun character was a living person. Qian Gun had a look of pride on his face. Have you heard the phrase, money makes the world go round? If you have enough money, nothing is impossible. For the sake of entering the Underworld, I paid a blood cost. But after so many years in the Underworld I have found many things, so it wasn't really a loss. Now even Hades knows my name, allowing me access to the Underworld. Tut tut. I have answered your question, the transaction is complete. I have nothing else to say, I'll be heading off now. Wait. Ling Chen immediately called out, quickly asking, the scary bastard you were talking about before, who is it? Was it him that killed everyone that came by here? Qian Gun whooshed and returned, pointing his finger. Answering this question is a little risky, same rules as before, before asking questions you'll need to pay. 500,000 gold. 500,000 gold. Ling Chen's face darkened, he had to resist the urge to spit at his face. Why is it so expensive? That dark bastard is not some good master. If he finds out I gave away the reason for his disappearance, he will chase me across the whole continent to kill me. 500,000 is not that expensive. Qian Gun said with his eyes gleaming. 500,000, even if Ling Chen is willing to pay, he doesn't have the money. He thought for half a second, and helplessly said, "Fine, then how about you tell me what kind of dangers are hidden in the Lonely Spirit Ridge? Why do people disappear when they are near this place?" 2 million gold. Fair deal, fair trade. At hashtag Yuan%, hehe, young master, don't be angry. Qian Gun is greedy for money, but when it comes to selling goods or information he wouldn't randomly make up prices. When he asks for more gold, is an indication for how important the information is or how precious the item is. If he wants 200,000, it means the information is worth 200,000. But young master doesn't seem to have that much money. Even if you can't get the information, be sure not to offend him. Keep him around to continue making transactions. If he shows you some of his goods, then buy as much as possible, buy as much as you can afford. Qiyu's voice made Ling Chen swallow the angry words that were about to burst out of his mouth. Qian Gun, seeing that he hasn't spoken in a while, idly scratched his nose. "Looks like you can't produce 2 million gold, oh well, I guess I'll go about my own business. If you want to continue living, be sure not to enter that entrance." Wait. Ling Chen immediately yelled out upon seeing him leave. Walking forwards a few steps, standing in front of him and staring at him before he said, "You said before that you found a lot of good items in the Underworld, can you sell some that you aren't using? You want to buy my items?" Qian Gun sniffed Ling Chen's body, and his eyes lit up. Tut, this smell, there is at least 300,000 to 400,000 gold. Not bad, this encounter could be considered fate, I'll take out my cheapest goods for you to see. After Qian Gun finished talking, he moved quickly. The short stick in his hands flashed, and a list of items appeared before Ling Chen's eyes. Success! Ling Chen said in his heart. Even though Qian Gun will only let him see the cheapest goods, but as per the advice of Qiyu, even if they are cheap items, they should all be extraordinary things. He quickly concentrated, looking at the items that Qian Gun flashed before him. Ling Chen, 100%. To mine any ore. Even though it can only be used once and even though it's a broken spatula being sold for 20,000 gold, its effect is incredibly strong. If he had this spatula, even if he had no mining ability, he would be able to mine ore no matter what level it is, including the one he encountered previously, the mysterious red sun gold that he was completely helpless with. But what made Ling Chen really grind his teeth was that these spatulas were bought by Qian Gun for 5 silver in the Underworld, like he was taking trash. But he is selling them for 20,000 gold. The price is increased by 40,000 times. Profits on top of profits. Emptying rock, Qian Gun picked up stones from the Underworld, inside of which contains a low amount of spatial power. After placing it within a bag it can increase 300 storage space. Price 30,000 gold. Stock, 3. At this point players can expand their storage space to a max of 200 in Azure Dragon City. This amount of space is considered enough for the current players, but for players that are from Mystic Moon, there will be more and more things to store in their backpacks, various equipment, crystals, items, potions and scrolls. With only 200 storage space, it would be hard to fit it all in. Especially for someone like Ling Chen who takes large volumes of a variety of items, with the current 200 storage space he can't fit everything in. With the addition of this stone in his bag, he can increase it by 300 storage space. Increasing storage space to a total of 500. In addition, the price doesn't seem too high, even though Qian Gun didn't need to spend a single cent for them. Supernatural Crystal, Category, Energy Crystal, Grade, Super, Attribute, Light. Effect, Experience gained plus 10%. Price, 300,000 gold. Stock, 1. This supernatural crystal can increase EXP earned by 10%. To players who want to level like madmen, seeing this item would bring great surprise and joy. No matter how much it would cost, they would want to purchase it. But Ling Chen is not interested in it. He didn't spend any further time looking at it and continued down the list. Strange yellow-smelling beans. Qian Gun can't remember where he got these beans from, but regards, it makes a person's shit yellow. Additionally, it was also releasing a foul odor. After eating minus 100 HP, EXP plus 50,000. Price, 5,000 gold. Stock, 300. Strange black-smelling beans. Qian Gun can't remember where he got these beans from either. Their shape is similar to that of sheep shit. These beans were also releasing a foul odor. After eating 100 HP, skill potential points plus 100. Price 5,000 gold. Stock, 300. Items that will greatly increase EXP and skill potential points. This time Ling Chen was once again quite surprised. In his state of being surprised, he couldn't help but take a look at the skinny Qian Gun. Qiyu had said that the things he sold were all unusual. After seeing his goods, Ling Chen now knew that the goods were more than just unusual. They had incredible effects as well. And these were only just his cheapest goods. No wonder so many people on the Forgotten Continent wanted to meet and trade with him. Skill Scroll, Second Jump, Usage Requirements. Agility cannot be below 100. Perception cannot be below 8 points. After using, the user will gain a second jump. They can jump again in any direction after jumping to reposition. Highest level, LVL 5, at max level when a perception of 12 points and agility is at 360, it can be upgraded to triple jump. Price, 500,000 gold. Stock, 1. Flying Scroll, Usage Requirements, None. After using this item, the user can increase the level of any unmaxed skill by 1 permanently. Price 500,000 gold. Stock, 3. After seeing these last 2 scrolls and looking at how much gold he had left, Ling Chen suddenly felt like crying with disappointment. In this moment, he had a very clear understanding of money isn't everything, but everything needs money, something Lu Shen had said. If he could get Skill Scroll, Second Jump, then with his agility, this ability, Double Jump, could yield terrifying results, allowing him to enhance his protective and combative skills. It can even greatly increase his escape abilities. If he can obtain Triple Jump, Ling Chen couldn't hold back his excitement at just the thought of it. On top of that, the Flying Scroll directly level up 1 skill. Early on in the game, this scroll's effort doesn't seem to have such a dramatic impact, but in the late game where skills are extremely difficult to level up, because not only will they need skill points but also other harsh conditions to fully raise the level, it would be extremely useful. But these 2 scrolls both cost 500,000 gold each. He couldn't afford them. Additionally, on top of that, another thing he remembered, these are Qian Gun's cheapest goods, which is to say they are only his lowest grade items. Fair trade, fair deals, no haggling allowed. How about it? These are all good items, right? I don't carry any ordinary items around. Same rules, see one you like, pay first before taking the goods, said Qian Gun. Seeing Ling Chen had finished reading his list of goods, Qian Gun narrowed his eyes. He only revealed his goods up to the price of 500,000 gold, because he could tell by the Ling Chen's appearance that he only was carrying about that much. I want to buy all these things. Ling Chen struggled to say, but I'm not carrying that much money. Is there any way I can find you again in the future? Qian Gun stared, and started shaking his head, no. There are many people who want to buy my items. If I was found by people, how can I continue living happily? The business I make is based on fate. Want to buy more things? If you don't have enough money, then you'll just have to wait till the next time you encounter me. But, my whole life I've never come across the same living being more than twice. Even seeing someone twice happens very, very rarely. The already demoralized Ling Chen now felt completely helpless. He pondered about in his thoughts for a while, then took out 80,000 gold and gave it to Qian Gun, by Forgotten Continent Map, and Emptying Rock. Okay, gold in hand, Qian Gun eyes turned into gold coins, and very quickly took out a map and a rock, that looked no different from a marble, and handed them to Ling Chen. Boy, you have good taste. I have spent several hundred years drawing this map, only seeing it for 50,000 gold, you've gotten a bargain. After buying the map and the emptying rock, Ling Chen still had 340,000 gold. He couldn't afford the skill scroll, the flying scroll or the supernatural rock. Too bad, it felt like a waste. As for the two strange-smelling beans, Ling Chen thought for a moment. For the amount he thought it cost, he felt that the effects were not worth it. So instead he took out his 340,000 gold, and gave it all to Qian Gun, by 17 spatulas. Perhaps for the average player, even if there was a 100% chance to mine any high level ore, they still aren't much use, because high level ore is not so easy to find. But because Ling Chen had Xiao Hui by his side, that wouldn't be a concern when finding treasure. So, after another brief moment of consideration, he decided to spend the rest of his gold to buy the spatulas that can give him 100% chance to mine ores. Okay. Qian Gun exclaimed, with gold in his hands. He then quickly took out 17 broken spatulas and gave them to Ling Chen. Qian Gun eyes gleamed as he looked more and more pleased. Transaction complete. What else do you want? Pay with gold and you'll get it immediately, he then said with a smile, holding the last 7,583 gold in his hands. Ling Chen took out 5,000 gold and said, buy one black bean. A single strange-smelling black bean was placed in his hands. Ling Chen only had 2,583 gold left. Having this amount was still considered wealthy among the players, but he is no longer able to buy anything from Qian Gun. He could only helplessly say, I will not making any more purchases. Then the items, each one stronger than the other, were all stored away by Qian Gun. Using a map that can be reproduced infinitely, a stone that he picked up, and more than a dozen broken spatulas and a black bean that looked like sheep shit to make over 400,000 gold, he put his possessions away and said with a smile, if there's nothing else I'll be heading off, see you next time. Oh right, for all our trade, I can tell you something for free. The reason you can be standing there and still be alive is because the bastard who lives in front of the Lonely Spirit Ridge just happened to not be here. Every year he leaves for 1 to 2 days, normally never leaving for too long. It's like it seems to be guarding something, so it's best you leave quickly. If he comes back you're dead meat. I'll be going now. After squeezing all the gold out of Ling Chen, Qian Gun seemed to no longer have an interest in Ling Chen. After finishing talking, he bent his back, twisting his body, and hobbled away. His running was like that of a monkey being chased by a wolf. That attitude made Ling Chen's heart twitch. He stood there silently thinking about what Qian Gun said. His eyes suddenly lit up. According to Qian Gun, there's an extremely powerful bastard living in Lonely Spirit Ridge, and the people who have died here in the past were because of that scary bastard. Lucky he is still safe and still hasn't even faced a great danger, and it was all because that scary bastard had conveniently left. Which is to say, now is the golden opportunity. Could this also be the luck that Xiao Hui brings? Ling Chen no longer hesitated. He changing from his cautious movements to one that charged straight for the entrance of the Lonely Spirit Ridge. After going in, Ling Chen started to feel afraid. He took a moment to calm himself, stabilizing his emotions and calming down. Folding open the map that he bought from Qian Gun. He looked at it a few times, and felt more and more strongly that the 50,000 gold was worth it. On the Forgotten Continent were marked all the towns big and small, ruins, forests, mountains, plains, rivers, historic remains, etc. Even the main buildings in big cities were labeled. Many special locations also came with detailed comments. The colors of the regions were also significantly different. Where he is now was colored black, meaning that it was forbidden. Next to the picture of the Lonely Spirit Ridge, was a paragraph of text. Lonely Spirit Ridge, 10,000 years ago it was called the Silent Ridge. But it was affected by the death's breath produced by the entrance to the Underworld. Few people would come by, but it wasn't officially forbidden at first. Often explorers would venture in. 10,000 years ago, suddenly a black fog appeared on the Silent Ridge. Then from that point, everyone who stepped in died, and no one ever came out. Then the Silent Ridge was renamed a few hundred years later to Lonely Spirit Ridge. The power levels within are at least of Mysterious God, do not enter. Ling Chen, power levels of least Mysterious God, do not enter, which is to say, those people who have come here were all killed by someone or some monster, who was at least of Mysterious God strength. No wonder it's been so many years, where countless masters of the Forgotten Continent have gone in without ever coming back. Mysterious God level, human beings simply could not compete. If he ran into it himself, it would certainly be the death of him. Moreover, Qian Gun obviously knew what was around here, but it wasn't not marked. Looks like even Qian Gun was afraid of it. Putting the map away, Ling Chen quickly went ahead. After putting the emptying rock into his bag, his storage space increased to 500. After entering the Lonely Spirit Ridge, he realized that there wasn't any death's breath. Based on what Qian Gun said, the biggest danger in Lonely Spirit Ridge had left, but he was unsure as to when it will return. Ling Chen quickly walked ahead, looking around and observing his surroundings. He was trying to look for what he came here for, the flaming black grass. According to the master in Azure Dragon City, the flaming black grass were in little clusters of black flame. They were very easy to identify. After discovering the entrance to the Underworld, he memorized it, but gave up on going in. Qian Gun said the lowest level undead that were in there were at least level 50, it was a region that he couldn't touch at all. Flaming black grace, flaming black grass. Ling Chen's heart was pounding, but he continued look around with Xiao Hui, pushing ahead. Lonely Spirit Ridge was big and there was a weird distribution of big and small mountains, on which were countless rocks. Sometimes you could see some black weeds, which seemed like the only plant that could grow even in this deathly environment. But it wasn't the same shape as the flaming black grass. Ling Chen continued up the path, until he reached the top of the first hill. The top was covered in gravel. The cold wind caused his heart to shiver, and there wasn't the slightest hint of the flaming black grass. Ling Chen stood on top of the mountain and looked into the distance. Under the black fog, he couldn't see how far the Lonely Spirit Ridge spread, and only could vaguely see the higher mountains ahead. At this time, from when he entered the Lonely Spirit Ridge, it had already been half an hour. Qiyu, have you seen flaming black grass before? Do you know where is it in the Lonely Spirit Ridge? Ling Chen asked. Qiyu, who has existed for 10,000 years, might know where the black flaming grass is. Qiyu? He called a few more times, but with no reply from Qiyu. Just then she was telling him about Qian Gun, but she hasn't made a sound since. Obviously she has strained her spiritual energy, and is now resting in the lunar scourge. It looked like he could only rely on himself. Ling Chen did a quick look around, and continued to move ahead. Even though he didn't find anything in the Lonely Spirit Ridge, but also he didn't run into anyone living or dead. Besides the wind, the whole Lonely Spirit Ridge was silent. The silence was scary, and there seems to be a big mountain range before him, without a single living thing on it. Going down the slope, Ling Chen made sure to check every single corner. But even after reaching the other side of the mountain, there were still no flaming black grass to be seen. The master in Azure Dragon City that talked about the flaming black grass in the Lonely Spirit Ridge couldn't have been a lie, could it? Why couldn't he find even one? Ling Chen suddenly thought of a possibility. It could be that the flaming black grass was a story that had been passed down for a very, very long time. In that time the Lonely Spirit Ridge wasn't called the Lonely Spirit Ridge, not even the Silent Ridge. But today, many tens of thousands of years has passed, and the area now, can't flaming black grass can't grow like before, right? Then immediately, Ling Chen discarded the idea. This is Mystic World's unique hidden task. Since the task exists, even though it is very difficult, there is definitely a chance to complete it. Which is also to say that the flaming black grass definitely exists. Ling Chen looked ahead. This should be a safe area of the Lonely Spirit Ridge. Would the flaming black grass be in the middle area of the Lonely Spirit Ridge? Upon thinking of this, Ling Chen increased his movements. He continued ahead, further increasing the speed he is moving ahead. But this didn't mean he was traveling leisurely. Every time he headed to a new place, he will use his binoculars to closely observe it first. After an hour, Undead Stone's effect was lost, and disappeared from the lunar scourge. But the atmosphere of the Lonely Spirit Ridge was different from the Ghastly grounds. He didn't seem to lose any HP without the Undead Stone. But it's been an hour, and he has moved a few kms of distance, but still had not found any traces of the flaming black grass. While looking around, the real-world time just hit 12 a.m. A new day had started. 2 days ago Azure Dragon City was a desolate place, but now it was bustling with people coming and going. A large number of players were all trying to get transfers, or finding tasks to do, or finding upgrades for equips for the first time. Businesses owned by players have also started to plan, but no one would have thought that a single player had already traveled over 200 kilometers from that place, under horrific circumstances, taking a great risk doing a difficult task. Qian Gun mentioned that scary bastard could be back in any moment. Making the Lonely Spirit Ridge a taboo and killing any masters, one can only imagine how scary that guy is. If he couldn't find any flaming black grass before he gets back, not only will he have to cut his work short, it will also mean certain death. He still have to bear the cruel punishment for failing the task. He needed to find it immediately. And another 2 hours has passed. Crossing over multiple hills, Ling Chen had already forgotten and didn't bother remembering them. He focused all his attention looking for the flaming black grass. He obviously had entered the Lonely Spirit Ridge, and now it was the perfect time to avoid the danger. But now he had already been searching for 3 hours, but still couldn't even find the shadow of this flaming black grass. In these large gaps of time, even Ling Chen has had huge mood swings. He even vaguely felt like his guess may have been right. After so many years had passed, the Lonely Spirit Ridge no longer was the same as before. It may be true that there is no flaming black grass. But he had already come so far, Ling Chen couldn't give up without feeling bad now. He grit his teeth, and continued ahead. If he reached the end of the Lonely Spirit Ridge without finding the flaming black grass, then, this finding flaming black grass task, is a task that really can't be accomplished. Under the cover of the black fog, he couldn't see too far away. It was also hard to know if the mountain he was on was at the center of the Lonely Spirit Ridge, or if it was the highest one. After 10 minutes, Ling Chen sat at the top of a mountain. The whole way here, the black weeds were everywhere, but the flaming black grass was nowhere to be found. Now, he was beginning to feel some numbness. The mountains in the Lonely Spirit Ridge were generally not tall. The one Ling Chen was standing on was the tallest. But also the one that seemed to be the most center of the Lonely Spirit Ridge. Ling Chen observed his surroundings. On right side in 50 there was a large rock. In the middle of a large empty area, there was not even the shadow of the flaming black grass. Still nothing? Ling Chen let out a long sigh. But as he walked down the mountain, Xiao Hui behind him called out. It took off, running towards that round rock that was tall as a person and then standing behind the rock, using its paws to touch the rock. Ling Chen's expression lit up, and quickly came over. Seeing Xiao Hui's actions, he asked, "Are you saying, there's something under the rock?" Xiao Hui quickly scratched with his front paw in response. Its movement clearly told Ling Chen to move the stone away. Ling Chen then took 2 steps back, and glanced at the rock. This rock was a similar height to him, and looked really heavy. But it was a long oval shape, so if he tried with all his strength, he should be able to take it down. Immediately, he put away his weapons, and stood before the rock. He put both hands on the rock, letting out a breath of air, and gave it a hard push. Even though this rock was big, it wasn't as heavy as Ling Chen thought it would be. Coupled with its unstable shape, Ling Chen used some strength, and the boulder suddenly tilted. Ling Chen frowned, bit down and tried harder. This time, this human-sized rock suddenly was shifted by Ling Chen, making a poof sound as it hit the ground. Below the rock was a dark cave opening. It appeared half a meter wide. Ling Chen was startled, and quickly came to see what was in the hole. The hole was deep, and pitch black, he couldn't see anything at all. But at the edge, a rope ladder was hanging off the side. Rope ladder. The rope ladder was put up by a person. Which is to say, people come out of this little hole. Could it be that the scary bastard that Qian Gun talked about is a person? A person with a minimum strength level of mysterious god? Ding, you have discovered a hidden area, the region has no name. In reality, Ling Chen had already subconsciously accepted it as fact, that the flaming black grass did not exist in Lonely Spirit Ridge. Ever since a long time ago, the flaming black grass had already been extinct from the Lonely Spirit Ridge. In regards to the documents that talked about the flaming black grass in Lonely Spirit Ridge, they must have been passed down for tens of thousands of years. Within these recent years, no one had survived after entering the Lonely Spirit Ridge, so there is no way anyone could have known this, even the Azure Dragon City Master. So Ling Chen had received this task, but it was a task that couldn't even be completed. Not only that, it was the father of all cruel and painful tasks. The hole was very narrow. Whist descending, Ling Chen's shoulders were scraping against the wall. Xiao Hui was also using its paws to climb down from the ladder, slowly following Ling Chen down. It had more dexterity than Ling Chen, so climbing down the ladder proved a simple enough task. No one is allowed to step into the Forbidden Lands, a hidden underground cave. This sense of adventure and mystery made Ling Chen's heart beat faster. So that this secret place remains secret, normal people can't enter, so it must be hiding some kind of precious item or some big secret, or perhaps some kind of special people or beast. It's also possible that a treasure of immeasurable scale is hidden here. After traveling down about 10 m, Ling Chen suddenly noticed that there was a faint light. Light! Could it be that there are other people here? Ling Chen immediately stopped moving, only staring downwards towards the source of the light. The faint red light appeared to the light from a fire. Judging from the position of the light, he was only about a dozen meters away from it. Ling Chen listened for a moment but didn't hear a single thing. There did not seem to be any traces of life. He assured himself of this but didn't let his guard down. Making as subtle movements as possible, slowly descended further down the hole. After going for about a dozen meters, his feet finally touched the bottom of the hole. When he reached the bottom, it made a thump. Ling Chen kept both hands tightly holding onto the ladder, so if there were dangerous creatures following, he would be able to judge based on their strength whether he needed to quickly climb back up. His landing was extremely loud compared to this quiet underground space, but after a long time the underground returned to pure silence. Ling Chen felt relieved of his great burden. Looks like there weren't any creatures down here after all. Letting go of the ladder, Ling Chen turned around and started looking around this underground space. In front of him was a narrow underground tunnel. The faint red light he saw before was being emitted from this exact tunnel. What was emitting that strange red light? Could it be that it was the strange treasure that was hidden in this place? There didn't seem to be any dangerous gas ahead. Xiao Hui was also comfortably following him, not giving any warnings of danger. Ling Chen took a step forward, moving towards the tunnel. With his advance, the red light grew stronger and stronger. The air in the Lonely Spirit Ridge was cold. This underground space should be even colder, but with every step he took, the coldness he felt seemed to dissipate bit by bit. After traveling through about half the tunnel, the icy cold has been replaced with a vague warmth, and Ling Chen's body felt relaxed. Ling Chen pushed forward, the warmth then started to grow into an intense heat. This was becoming clear, but it was not completely intolerable. Could it be that this red light was a burning flame, or the light emitted by the flow of lava? How could it be so hot? Ling Chen thought to himself. Continuing to walk for a few meters, the exit of the tunnel appeared ahead. The heat around him caused his forehead to be covered in sweat. He quickly walked up a few steps, walking out of this tunnel. Suddenly he saw the light before him. A full circle with an area of several hundred square meters was before him. At the same time he also felt a hot blast of air, making him feel suffocated. This is... Under the strong red light, Ling Chen could clearly see the space around him. The first half of the space was completely empty, not a single thing to be seen, and the other half was a dark thread that was crisscrossed. Under the red light these black threads remained completely black, numerous threads overlapping in a crisscross pattern, creating fine black web. In the middle of the web, it was the source of the high temperature and red light. In the moment of seeing it, Ling Chen was stunned in shock and awe. What a beautiful bird! In the middle of the black web, releasing searing temperatures and a red glow, turned out to be a large red bird. Its body was around 1 meter long, wings spread out, head held high, just like the phoenix, both beautiful and noble. Its feathers were all red, just like a cluster of burning flames. The abdomen were burning with a gold color. The feathers at the tip of its wings were also golden with a mixture of red. It looked like two-layered golden pattern. Its tail was long, and was a similar fiery red color, but it was the patternless areas that were truly beautiful, especially the central tail feathers. They were like noble flames flickering in the light. It was beautiful beyond description. Ling Chen took a moment to take it all in, as because this was absolutely the most beautiful thing he had seen in his life, the most gorgeous creature. Beautiful to a point where it felt surreal. It had its wings spread yet remained motionless. It seemed to be a gorgeous sculpture. Its surroundings were numerous black threads, blocking a large proportion of the beautiful light that it was releasing. Could it be that it was just a beautiful sculpture? Then what are the black threads around it? Why would it be hidden here in this dangerous and forbidden place? Ling Chen took a step forward with thinking. He started to observe the web which holds the beautiful bird. As he approached, it grew even hotter, making it hard to breathe, but he endured and still could withstand it. Once he got close, Ling Chen found that even its eyes were red, shining a bright red light. Even though it wasn't moving, the light released from its eye gave a sense of it overlooking all with its elegant gaze. Then the eyes moved a little. It flashed gold for just a moment. Ling Chen's body was stunned. He stood fixed in place, staring at it out of surprise. The large bird's eyes moved. This wasn't a sculpture, it was a living creature. He was sure that he had not seen an illusion, but that the large bird's eyes actually moved. Ling Chen did not move any further forwards. Instead he kept staring at its eyes. Finally, after a minute had passed, he once again saw the faint quiver of its eyes. It really was a living bird. Ling Chen looked around in this space again, finally looking at the black threads. They didn't seem to be a single entity, because it was covered with a black light. It was unclear how many of these black threads there were. Ling Chen instantly understood. These threads, the big red bird was trapped within them. In other words, these black threads are to restrict the large bird. Then he realized that the space around him was also to contain the big bird. This is actually a living creature, why would it be blocked in here? Ling Chen's mind flashed back to something Qian Gun said. That scary bastard normally doesn't ever leave, it seemed to be guarding something. Could it be that the scary bastard has been guarding the bird, preventing it from escaping? A being with at least mysterious god strength, living within Lonely Spirit Ridge for at least 10,000 years, not allowing any other creatures to enter. Could it be to guard this bird? If it was the case, what kind of creature is it, requiring someone so powerful to retrain and guard it? If the bird was one of the most dangerous creatures, why haven't they killed it, but sealing it off instead? Could it be that there's no way to kill it? Or, everything that he thought of was completely wrong? Ling Chen walked closer, wanting to see the large bird more clearly. Whilst raising his left hand, he used his communication watch's camera to take a picture of the large bird's appearance and the environment. As he came closer, about 10 meters away from the black threads, his right hand suddenly began to have a black glow. The lunar scourge had revealed its original state, in the form of a black glow. What's this? Ling Chen stopped moving. While standing in a state of shock, he watching the lunar scourge on his right hand. Without warning he felt something and urgently looked up. Along with the lunar scourge's black glow, the black glow emitted from the threads directly next to Ling Chen grew weaker and fainter. After a few seconds, the black glow on all the threads had gone. Editor, Dai Tensai, the disappearance of the black threads made Ling Chen stay. After staring at it for a while, he looked at his lunar scourge as the black glow disappeared. After a brief hesitation, he stepped forward with his right hand stretched out. As he drew closer to other lines, his lunar scourge glowed black again, and the threads in front gradually dimmed and slowly dissipated. These black threads were bodies of energy, which were afraid of the lunar scourge. Why this happened, Ling Chen didn't know. The lunar scourge still had many secrets that he didn't know of. But the reality is before his eyes. The black web that keeps the beautiful red bird in captivity is afraid of the lunar scourge's light, and under the glow of the lunar scourge, the threads silently dissipated. If he approached step by step, then, these black threads will all have completely disappeared under the light of the lunar scourge. And that beautiful red bird, with the flutter of its eyes proving that it was alive, and with these black threads gone, it will no longer be captive, it will be set free. Ling Chen put his foot down, no longer moving ahead. He was an idiot. He should have known that this captured bird was no normal beast. It undoubtedly had powerful strength. The red light and hot breath coming from it even under captivity was proof of its extraordinary nature. If it was an evil beast, and he released it with his lunar scourge, then it will immediately kill him, and bring terror to the land around it after it escapes, then he will be the bad guy. Moreover, if this really was the thing that scary bastard was keeping watch of, if he found out that Ling Chen let it go, then, without a doubt, there would be someone with mysterious god-level strength that would hate him, and would relentlessly try to find and kill him. Being hunted by someone with mysterious god strength, no matter how powerful a player is, they would ultimately be destroyed, never advancing further in this game. So, Ling Chen stopped walking, no longer pushing ahead. The black threads disappearing under the influence of the lunar scourge could clearly be seen by the red bird. Its red eyes were flashing, the red feathers made little sparks of excitement. But then, seeing Ling Chen stopping, and retracting his arm, and the black glow fading from his bracelet, it became anxious. The red light in its eyes fluttered, it was crying with light. Ling Chen could understand its pleading eyes, it was a psychic beast. It had a very strong sense of emotional perception. But, Ling Chen still didn't know. He still didn't know if it was good or evil. Even if it really was a good creature, saving it was a huge risk for Ling Chen. But, he didn't turn and leave. Because the bird was so beautiful and such a beautiful thing was completely captured in this web, with all freedom taken away, and perhaps no one could bear to see such a thing. Ling Chen subconsciously couldn't bear to see it. He even had the urge to save it after staring at the red bird that was anxious for some hope, even though it couldn't move or make a sound, and could only express itself through its eyes. It had no idea how many years it had been stuck there for, so, it would give anything for freedom. You must have been here for over 10,000 years, it's really sad indeed. Ling Chen looked at it, and suddenly said out loud. I don't know why you're stuck here, or whether you're good or evil, I don't even know why this thing on my hand can save you, so, I have no idea whether I should save you. But, Ling Chen laughed, stepping forwards, and raising his right arm at the same time, and as he moved ahead, Lunar Scourge's glow appeared again, making the threads disappear as he got close. Me meeting you here is a great opportunity. My ability to save you with this thing on my hand makes it an even bigger opportunity. This event. I can't say for sure, but perhaps it is destiny that you are freed. But this isn't the main reason I decided to free you. I have a sister, and after a long period of time, she developed a terminal illness. That is a kind of despair where you can't see any hope, that it was inevitable that she would soon meet God, but my sister was saved. Because of this, it was the first time I sincerely thanked God. Here where I met you, if I dig deep into my heart, there's no way I can't save you, because if everyone was selfish and didn't help each other, I would have already lost someone really important to me. The consequences of me saving you, good or bad, will be my full responsibility, and no one else. Ling Chen said this with a calm voice and continued to walk forwards. As he moved ahead, the black threads, one at a time, quickly dissipated. When Ling Chen reached the center of the space, the Lunar Scourge's light had enveloped all the lines. After some time, all the threads were illuminated by the Lunar Scourge's glow and were slowly breaking down. Then, after a while they completely disappeared, until all of them were gone without a trace. Chirp, a bird sound rang out after for a long time in this quiet underground space. As the black web completely disappeared, the red bird made a sound of excitement as it was freed from captivity. It cheerfully beat its wings, flying up high, until it was above Ling Chen. It flew around his head, accompanied with bursts of flashes and sparks. Its chirps were filled with the excitement of being freed. It also seemed to express gratitude towards Ling Chen. With the red bird freed, the hot air was gone, and so Ling Chen's discomfort completely disappeared. It must be that the free bird now has regained control to properly manipulate flame, and it has withdrawn the fiery glow. Ling Chen looked at it. Its whole body was like a cluster of burning flame. The flames were a magnificent gold. They were stunning and pleasing to watch. Releasing the red bird didn't seem to pose a threat to him, and based on its actions and sounds, he could sense a real gratitude. At least, it isn't an evil beast, which means he did the right thing. Well then, you better leave quickly. The scary guy that blocked you in here is not around. But he'll be back soon. If you don't leave quickly and he catches you, I won't be able to save you again. Go, Ling Chen said, looking at it. Chirp, the red bird understood Ling Chen's words, and it continued to fly around Ling Chen for a few more laps, before finally spreading its wings and flying away. It flew towards the tunnel before flying into the tunnel, then it went upwards, and after that he couldn't see where it went. I got to do something good. It feels pretty nice. Ling Chen said to himself, looking at his right hand. The Lunar Scourge had changed back to its original form, but Ling Chen couldn't not care about its performance before. The black threads should have contained a powerful force, but the light from the Lunar Scourge caused it to disappear so easily. Within the Lunar Scourge, how many secrets are there truly? The black threads had disappeared. The freed red bird had already left, so the whole space was empty. There was nothing else here. Ling Chen went back the original way. It hadn't been long before he was back to the mountain top by the rope ladder. Next to him was the big rock on the ground. He could still hear the howling cold wind. The vast expanse was still filled with dust, and he couldn't see too far in front. Since entering the Lonely Spirit Ridge, it's been 4 hours. Looking at the thick fog, Ling Chen breathed lightly. The surrounding area was deathly quiet. The red bird he rescued should be far away by now. Its staying around was far too dangerous, and staying here alone, it would face constant danger. Every second it stopped for, the danger would increase significantly, and if that scary bastard comes back, it will become a dire situation. After searching and finding nothing in 4 hours, did he really want to keep searching? Xiao Hui, do you think we should continue searching? It was a hard decision, and so Ling Chen asked his only partner. It tilted its head, shook its tail and thought about it for a while but didn't come up with an answer. He rushed hundreds of miles from Azure Dragon City to get here, and he also had to go through the ghastly grounds to get here. Then he took advantage of a golden opportunity, searching till now. It had already been more than 4 hours. If he left now, he wouldn't have inner peace, because it could be that the flaming black grass is just ahead, but if there really was no flaming black grass in the lonely Spirit Ridge, continuing the search would just make him more and more desperate. Once Ling Chen dies, his level will go to 0. But if he returns, he will have to bear the punishment task. I'll search for another hour. Looking ahead, Ling Chen let out a deep breath of air, speaking in a low voice before quickly walking ahead. The lonely Spirit Ridge already didn't have any flaming black grass left. This is a fact that not many people know. Ling Chen could continue searching for 100 years or 1,000 years and he still wouldn't be able to find it. Walking from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the other side, he still couldn't find it. The desire for him to leave this place was growing increasingly strong. After a few minutes, he stood at the foot of the next mountain. Looking ahead, he was just about to take a step when behind him, a sound rang out. "Big brother, big brother." Ling Chen's body was suddenly paralyzed and the soaring cloud and zephyr blade appeared in his hands. This was the sound of a human, moreover it was a sweet-sounding girl. No one dared to step into this forbidden land. And in this land where anyone who steps in will die, there actually came a girl's voice. Ling Chen walked towards the way where it came from and did not even see a girl's shadow. But the sound sounded like it was right behind him. Although this was a girl's voice, he was still too shocked. The whole way here had been completely silent. With this fact alone, it is enough to prove that this person was terrible. Could it be that the scary bastard that Qian Gun was talking about was finally back?